Hey, Curious Connerys. Dylan here. We just want to give you a heads up that the following program contains conversation relating to topics that may or may not include physical and sexual assault and self-harm and mistreatment of different cultures. We are in no way condoning these things. But given that Sean Connery has acted in films going back many years, they've tended to come up. To spin a phrase from Disney, many of these films include negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures that were certainly wrong then and are definitely wrong now. But rather than not discuss this content, we'd like to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and create conversation for a richer future. Stay curious, folks. And now, on to our show.
Connery Curious! Saga! Last Crusade! You only live twice! And the Anderson tapes! Murder on the Orient Express! You never know what the wheel's gonna spin next! Marnie and a woman of straw! And a wounded man in Africa! We are curious of the filmography of Sir Sean Connery.
Just because I think we should catch all of our conversation. Like a shameless, whatever our generation is.
Well, I'm wondering when Sean Connery's going to turn up in this podcast too.
He'll show up eventually, I'm sure.
Eventually. Let's see. All right, I'm going to start recording on my end.
All right, I'm recording on my end. Chris, you recording on your end?
The average recorder tool normally works. Is that all right with you guys?
That's fine, yeah, whatever you... Wait, recording on Zoom, or do you have, like, Audacity, or...
I just have a simple thing that I can convert all of what I've said into this one video file, essentially. But
oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll do that in the background. But just in case that fails, we'll still have the Zoom recording, right?
Yep.
Okay, That makes me feel a lot better.
We have a lot of backups now, so we should be all good.
Okay. Right, and I'm recording too.
Excellent. Give me 1 second here. I apologize. How was your day? We apologize for the confusion.
Yeah, no worries. It's kind of weird. You're talking about the 5-hour difference the entire time, and I was like, they must have been a really far away part of America. I don't know why I just didn't bring it up. I just wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, no, I mean, hopefully this isn't too bad for you guys.
Oh, no, this is our usual time, so we're kind of happy that we got to go a little later on. So.
Oh, that works. Yeah, no,
this is perfect.
That was fine, but there's an after-work staff meeting which went on far longer than it was meant to, which was fun.
Fair enough.
Yeah. How about you two?
Not much. Just enjoyed the beautiful weather.
Mm-hmm.
Currently on the job hunt at the moment.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But not too bad. Just kind of hanging around.
So in that case, whereabouts in the States are you two?
We're in Rhode Island.
Oh, okay. So not too far up the road.
Yeah. And you're in Virginia, you said?
Yeah.
Yes, North Virginia.
Nice.
I'm about literally a stone's throw from DC at this point.
Nice.
My on the other podcast I do, we have our friend James is in Norfolk.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think that's near you guys too. But we were trying to go up there visit him for a while. But it was funny when he said Virginia because I was like, "What's the time difference? Is he in London? No, he's in Virginia apparently." I was like, "Okay."
That I will admit, that's my bad. I think our conversation started because you had commented on one of our stories or something, and that enters it into the direct message thread. And then I followed your page, and I just was seeing all your posts. And I had never actually clicked on the profile itself to see the main headline, living in the United States. And did you go to London recently because you had shared a story about that?
Yes, I went to London over spring break. So that even more.
That's what put it in my head. Forgive me.
No, I should have said something when you're talking about the time difference anyway.
They get crazy. So I have friends in Alaska, for God's sakes, and it's insane. I forget how many hours they are. I think about 6 hours, maybe 7 hours.
Well, if we ever do a recording with anyone from Australia, it'll be a different day.
Yeah, right. They're like in the future, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But, all right, so shall we get into it, boys?
I think we shall get into it.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
All righty. Well.
So you want to do like a quick little intro spiel, then introduce Chris here?
Yeah, I think we should go our usual route. Do you want to hear us play the song live or something? We don't normally do that. I don't know if that was...
I'll be whatever audience you want me to
works.
No, I won't put you through that. So, all right, let's do it. Mario Lima,
Dylan Titus.
And everyone out there listening, welcome to the Connery Curious podcast.
The podcast where we dive through the entire filmography of Sir Sean Connery.
It's happening already.
It's a tongue. He's starting to come out. Oh, good lord!
Oh no, you were asking when it was going to happen.
See, here it is. So we have an extra voice joining us this evening.
And it's a special occasion because it's our very first guest ever on this podcast.
Very first guest ever.
Which honestly, that's a massive honor. So I've got a pretty big weight to bear here now.
Oh yes,
we are honored that you would join us at all. So tell the people who you are.
I'm Chris. I'm from an Instagram page called British Bond Addict, where I just basically rant about my favorite film series. And yeah, that's essentially it. That's all my social media is, really. Just me posting either about ties or about Bond things in general and just being a colossal nerd.
What was your introduction to Bond? What was your first movie, and how'd you get into it?
I don't have a pinpoint memory of my first movie because my dad was a massive Bond fan, and every weekend Bond films are on all the time. So Bond was around since as long as I can remember, and I clicked to it more than my brother did, and that kind of became a thing between me and my dad for a very long time. But something that really cemented it is very important to me, as many people of my generation. GoldenEye 64, playing that really cemented it. And
yes,
I knew what it was before then. I knew the film before then, but playing the actual, scenes I'd seen in the game, that for me at that age, that just clicked something, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. Like, God, the amount of times I've gone through all of the films, read the books, all of that jazz, I honestly can't count at this point.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I told the story on this show once. Like, that was my introduction too, was GoldenEye on the 64. But my mom showed me Goldfinger, and I remember watching it thinking, oh, this is cool. I'm like, and I see Odd Job on the golf course. I'm like, he looks familiar. He's in a video game I play. And I go back and I'm like, oh, wait, this is James Bond. I had no idea as a young kid. So it's weird. So I saw the game first, then I worked my way to Connery, then I worked to, Lazenby Moore and all that. And now I'm like a fanatic, as we all are here. So it's interesting how a simple game that like people are super fond of nowadays. They're like, wow, back in the day, like we thought this was great, but the controls are kind of garbage. But it was an iconic game, historic game, and historic franchise for sure.
I'll say the fact for what this Bond film did for not only its own franchise but films in general is probably akin to what GoldenEye did for gaming at certain points at that time. So to make an over-the-top statement this early on, I'm quite happy about that.
Right, yeah.
If I may, I have never really played GoldenEye. But I recently installed an emulator on my computer and have a ROM of it, and I will be playing it soon. And I was able to connect my PlayStation controller to the computer, and yeah, it's going to be all over once I actually dive in.
I might have to bring my 64 over, because I feel like you need the authentic experience of the controller.
That controller is crazy. I'm so used to I play so little video games, and it's all on my PlayStation. So I think I think I'll try it with that first, just because it's here and it's available, and I won't have to wait for you to come over. So, and then when you have to go home, I'll be like, "Well, can I keep it?"
No, but perhaps later.
Showed up for 20 minutes and gave me a little hit, and now I'm addicted.
I got the hit. So speaking of first Bond things, we're talking about the first big Bond game, but today we are covering the first, technically not first in some people's arguments, but
it's the first real Bond movie.
It's the first real James Bond film, Dr. No.
Because if you count the 55 Casino Royale, that's just a TV show.
First
it's a TV movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feature length cinema release James Bond.
Yeah, because I got really angry on a cruise ship once, which is, you should never get angry on a cruise ship. They had on the schedule Bond trivia, and I was like, I could knock this out of the park, no problem. But the only question I got wrong was what was the first Bond film, and I said, I don't think a casual Bond quiz would include Casino Royale, so maybe I'll just say Dr. No and see what happens. I got it wrong. They said Casino Royale.
Really?
And yeah, it drove me nuts for years. It's like I got every single question right other than that. Right? They're asking Moonraker questions, for God's sakes. and I got that one wrong. I couldn't believe it. So I guess in some people's cases, I don't think I've ever seen Casino Royale, the original.
It turns out the prize for that Bond trivia contest was that they paid for the entirety of the cruise, and you didn't have enough money to go on the cruise. You went on the cruise on a credit card, hoping that you would win the Bond trivia. There's no way 3,000 people on the ship will know as much about Bond as I do. And then that question stumped you, and you had to pay the credit card off. Anyway,
that's it. But yeah, so 1962's Dr. No, Sean Connery's first entry into the Bond series. I was very pleased to see this. I guess we'll talk about first, like, just some initial thoughts of the film.
Can I ask a question or a couple of questions of Chris before we really dive in? Let's cover the general Bond stuff before we actually jump into the movie. Chris, who's your favorite Bond? What's your favorite? Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah.
Really?
That's the Bond I grew up with, and there's always something strange about that. Like, I can understand why some people aren't the biggest fans of him, but yeah, no, him in general, that was just Bond for me growing up, and it's just stayed that way. It's just the one I think of first whenever I think of Bond, and the one I had the most fun watching on screen, despite the quality of the film he's in.
And the Roger Moore behind you is starting to look a little more menacing now as he realizes that he's not your favorite.
Yeah, no, I'm starting to regret that choice.
and
Pierce is fantastic.
And favorite film? I know these are fluctuating questions, of course, but I just mean at this moment in time.
Right now, I'd say the one I've been having the most fondness for, and the one I've been really just enjoying, listening to the soundtrack, all that stuff, and the one that's strongest in my head right now is probably Tomorrow Never Dies, which I'm sure is a certain amount of Brosnan showing through there. I don't think it's the best quality Bond film. It's just the one I've watched the most, and it's the one I had the most fun with. If we're talking about best quality, Skyfall probably would be up there for me. I think that's a close second in general anyway. But those two are pretty clear at the top for me.
And here's a question I have for some Bond fans, spoiling a little bit, but No Time to Die. How did you feel about the ending there? Do you think it was fitting?
It was fitting for Craig's Bond, and I think it was the only, considering all of his films apart from one had a sad ending, it kind of seemed it was going to go that way anyway. And it was one of the things many people had predicted it happening when they get into it, so I wasn't surprised. The bit I was surprised by, and the bit that really irritated me, was the fact the last line of that film was, "I'm going to tell you a story about a man, his name was Bond, James Bond." That line really irritated me. That irritated me worse than Bond actually dying.
Why?
Really?
It's just I know quite a bit of Bond is self-referential, but dear God, really? And the fact they're trying to go for an emotional hit with that line, it fell so flat for me.
Well, I think my theory with that is, so the way I look at the Craig films is that, in my opinion, Bond stopped at Die Another Day, which is not the best way to end, I guess, but so, go on. Craig, clearly a reboot. So I look at that as its own box set.
Yeah.
Those movies. And in my little headcanon, because I love fantasy and all that, is when she says that line, I think that first, when they get out of that tunnel, she's starting the opening page of Dr. No, the film we're going to talk about today. And that's a way to say we went full circle. It's a full thing. You went from Connery all the way to Craig, and we're going to go back around again, because now,
it's the diamond on top of the ring. The diamond is forever.
There, diamonds are forever, and so is Dr. No.
I like that theory a lot, Mario.
Yeah, that's how I came out of the theater thinking. I was just like, it really is a tribute to Bond, because Christ, look, he's driving a DB5 in 2022 or whatever year that was. It's come on, it's you're showing all the old toys from back in the day. Granted, the DB5 has been, Pierce drove the DB5 too, but. And yeah, come on, he had Timothy Dalton's Aston Martin too in a storage unit. Where'd that come from? I have questions.
I think everything from Skyfall, Skyfall to No Time to Die. Not like that's a huge everything, but I think those are Bond tribute films.
Yeah, the Skyfall, especially being part of the 50th anniversary celebrations, there's so many nods. But yeah, it definitely feels that way. The thing to me as well, I'm glad they tried an arc with Bond. I just hope they don't do it again. Like,
Same.
I'm hoping this will just be this little segment, this box set, as you said, of Bond history, and then we'll just go back to like a Monster of the Week sort of thing. We don't need to see another origin story. We don't need to see anything like that. Just give us.
I want to see James Bond versus the Monster of the Week.
Like Scooby-Doo. Sean Connery is the headless huntman or something. I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for your meddling kids. But yeah, I do hope we do get some kind of this random.
And it's the Saint Bernard from the
adventures.
end of Majesties.
I was wondering,
Sorry.
speaking of Majesties, I was shocked at how much they leaned into Majesties in No Time to Die. You look at your
Yeah.
the score, we had that a little bit, and then we had the No Time in the World
All the time.
at the end there, All the Time in the World. Just made me weep a couple times.
I was like, Cary Fukunaga went out saying that it's his favorite Bond film, and I think like he's just kind of a Bond fan who got to direct a Bond film. And was like, I like Majesties. I want to put some more references in. Like when he's talking to M, and you know the Majesty's Secret Service theme starts playing when they're talking about Blofeld. I'm not gonna lie, I got a kick out of that. That was great. So it works.
Yeah. I remember Dylan grabbing me. We saw it together, and he's like, "That's Her Majesty's." You hear that? Because I didn't catch it at first. And I hear, and it's a very slow. Wah, wah, wah. I'm like, wow. So that's how big nerds like we are with the movie. Like, if you can catch, like, that's Her Majesty's. Even the beginning when we have All the Time in the World and they're coming in with the DB5, that's scores from Her Majesty's too. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I was like, are they gonna go Majesty? Because people speculated that Spectre was going to be Her Majesty's Secret Service. Like the plot was going to be kind of leaned on that. So I was like, will they do it now? But you know, with Madeline and all that. But they already did the whole girlfriend dying in your arms arc, so we're not going to do it again to him, for God's
Yeah.
sakes.
I always got the feeling that The World Is Not Enough was the closest to an actual homage to Majesty's Secret Service as a film, but it's flipped because there's so many scenes that are the same. Like, you know, broken girl goes into a casino, spends a huge amount of money losing, all that sort of stuff. The fact there's a ski chase and they get like, there's so many parts of that film. It feels like Bond falling in love, but she's evil. It feels like it's Majesty's Secret Service, but with a different twist on it halfway through. And I enjoyed that. But I wonder if they kind of stopped doing that anymore because 3 times for one film in the franchise reoccurring is a little bit much.
Truth.
Well, if we're talking future of the franchise, to tie this in to the past of the franchise and what we're going to talk about today, I would kind of like to see, speaking of Monster of the Week, I would really like to see a straight book version of Dr. No, but I feel like if you make it set in the modern day, I think it would be interesting. You could do it as a period piece, but you could also do it as modern day, and I feel like it would, like, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Anyway, there's so much I want to talk about.
Yeah, me too, man. I forgot how much, like, some people are kind of iffy. Like, I guess let's ask this one more question too. What do you consider, Chris, to be the best Connery Bond film?
No.
Dr. No?
Oh, sorry. What do I consider? Sorry, I thought you said Duke.
Oh, no, which one? I thought you said Dr. No. I'm like, wow, high mark.
We're here.
I thought you just went. Sorry, I thought you said, "Do you consider this to be the best?" You said, "What do you think is the best?" I thought
Which?
I just went, "No,
Which?
not telling you."
I was like, Dr. No, cool.
God.
I'll say anything but that,
Yeah,
Your
I'm
Honor.
I'm torn between From Russia of Love or Goldfinger. I probably lean towards more Goldfinger because it had so many of the tropes that became part of Bond. But I think From Russia of Love being an espionage film, you see kind of a better Connery performance in a way. By Goldfinger, he's definitely comfortable hamming it up a little bit here and there. In From Russia, he's still quite straight-laced in a way, which is nice to see from Connery. I mean, when you see some other of his films, like Marnie, for example, stuff like that, you see he's got that gritty side, which I think is why he won the role of Bond so well in this film. But when you see that side, it's fascinating to watch and to see.
We haven't gotten to Marnie yet. I'm excited to watch that one.
Oh, yeah, Hitchcock and Connery is a good combination.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I agree. I think From Russia with Love is probably my favorite Connery Bond. Though I will say I think I like 70% of it, and then 30% of it kind of falls flat for me at points. I think maybe the ending drags on a bit. But again, I haven't watched it in a little while, so I'm saving myself these Connery Bonds for a while. The temptation is often there to watch them, but I'm waiting till the wheel hits them. Simple as that.
And we'll get to them. But yeah, so shall we start digging into Dr. No?
Let's dig into Dr. No. Let's dig into the guano. Let's get into the shit, boys. Which, God, that was missing from this movie.
The guano.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we're in it. We're in the film talk.
We're in it. So yeah, we'll start with some familiar faces at Rotten Tomatoes here.
Yes. This is usually how we start off here.
Yeah, tomato meter here, it's a 95% at the moment. Audience score of 82%. Let's see.
We'll get to our ratings later.
Yeah, we'll get to our ratings there. It's rated PG, action adventure, directed by Terrence Young,
which is our second film directed by Terrence Young on this podcast.
That's true. What was
Action of the Tiger? Which if you check your Venmo, you'll see that I just sent you money for that.
Oh, thank you. We had to buy the Blu-ray for that film, and luckily
somebody bought it from me.
I'm looking forward to seeing out how you guys found Hell Riders, because getting that in the UK was difficult enough. In the States, I have no idea how you're going to find that one.
Do you have a copy of it?
I think I do. Yes.
Could you share it with us?
Sure. I can. Yeah, I've got the disc, so I can send it over. I think it's Blu-ray.
Oh, excellent.
There we go. I feel like the Sisterhood of the Traveling DVD is going to be great.
We shall return it to you in flawless condition.
And we'll send you something back. We'll send you like a
hug,
a copy of Action of the Tiger. Loads of them.
That is one of my favorite Mario ideas, is to just make all our merch Action of the Tiger themed.
Which has a total of like 4 minutes of Connery in it.
Love it.
Or what? It wasn't to make all our merch kind of thing. Just do a line of merch that was specifically Action of the Tiger.
Just Action of the Tiger shirts.
You think your lunchbox is cool? Check out my Action of the Tiger sunglasses. And it's like a thick band a thick band with the poster on it. But it's only the part of the poster where Connery is assaulting that woman.
Yeah.
His legacy.
Hold on. If we're getting into the working blue jokes here, Mario, earlier you said no time in the world. That's the Bond film where he goes to get an abortion.
Right.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Good Lord.
I'm sorry.
Somebody hit the rim shot.
Hold on, I'll make a marker for that.
There we go. Dylan, want to hit us with the plot there? I couldn't find a good plot yet.
Chris has left. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make that joke. All right. James Bond, Agent 007, is sent to Jamaica to investigate the disappearance of a fellow British agent. The trail leads him to the underground base of Dr. Julius No, who is plotting to disrupt an early American space launch from Cape Canaveral with a radio beam weapon. Okay.
So I guess let's start with the opening. So this is our first Bond, not traditional gun. Like, we have a gun barrel, but it's not your traditional cold open, all that. You just kind of have your weird title sequence with the original Bond theme mixed in with Three Blind Mice and that one
little drum beat in the middle.
Yeah, drum beat thing.
What do we all think of that?
Sorry, Chris.
I've always quite liked it. I think it's a good way to start a film, and I like the fact the gun barrel opens with kind of like the technical beeping and stuff. A story that's always stuck with me, which my dad told me. My grandparents went to see that in the cinema when it first came out back in the UK, and apparently that entire sequence blew them away. Like, it was unlike anything they'd ever seen. I mean, if you watch it today out of context, it's a little bit disjointed. Like, you get all these blue flashing dots, then people dancing, and then a cheerful rendition of Three Blind Mice. It's really quite bizarre, but I love it for its uniqueness. I think it stands out really well, and it kind of sets you into the Caribbean mood quite quickly. Like, I don't have many positive things to say about Monty Norman's score, but what he does with the intro is really good.
Yeah, and just those iconic dots, which we just talked about, No Time to Die. We get that kind of homage when the train's leaving for the title sequence.
That might be the most tasteful homage in the whole film, I think.
Yeah.
is the
Yeah,
credits.
just
It's very classy.
Yeah, I saw.
And especially,
I thought I was seeing
I'm
things.
sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Oh no! I just thought that's fantastic. So this intro with Doctor No, as it's not traditional. When I showed my brother-in-law this, and he knows like the Pierce films, and he saw that. He's like, "This is kind of a trippy, little weird intro." I'm like, "Yeah, well, they just didn't really have the concept yet, and they got it right, quote unquote, right in from Rush with Love, and then so on and so forth. We have the tradition now of the cold open theme song." But yeah, I think it's kind of cool. I wouldn't mind seeing this happen in a future Bond film as a fun like homage. Do like a non-traditional opening like this. It's kind of cool to hear the Bond theme, which we hear a lot in this film.
Mm-hmm.
He walks through a lobby and it's like they really love that theme song. They're really into it.
Yeah, that
But Dylan,
that
what were you
is
gonna
called
say?
the James Bond walking theme, after all. Yes, I would. I would like to see this credit sequence. Okay, now we're officially talking about the movie, so I can bring up this point. I want to see this movie remade, but from the book and have it take place modern day, because I think you could make Doctor No. Both the book and the film are very fantastical. Is that fantastic? I'm sorry, that was
Fantastical
incorrect.
works.
Fantastical.
Yeah, fantastical. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it is quite ridiculous at points. The film less so, I think, but the book, has
The giant squid.
yeah, that's basically what I was getting to. Like the trial course, the
Yes.
obstacle course that he has to go through to get to the giant squid. Monster of the week.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, we just said there you go at the same time too.
Nice.
Lost train of thought. And I feel like you could, like, things like Doctor No's lair and some of the interesting architecture of that. Excuse me. Would be more plausible in 2023, and you could explain it more with a kind of. I don't know. I feel like it would work more if you said it today. But maybe that's me. I would like to see Doctor No made now. I was trying to think what's the only way. It's been a while since I've read the Doctor No book. I've read it twice. Is there a way that he mentions how he has kept the squid? Is it in a containment area or something, or has he trained it, or is it?
It's marred off by a big fence, which Bond climbs against, and it starts like grabbing at him when he's on that. And I think he uses something he got in the course to stab it. It's basically just kind of held in a bay by a fence. I like what you make, like what you're pointing out. I mean, in the world of Richard Branson having his own island, like a man who stole is it $10 million in the film? $10 million of their money to go to America. He could buy his own island if let's say if we made that into current day currency. All that stock. That could absolutely happen. Him caving out part of it to make what seems like a hotel complex, and also like evil scientist laboratory. That all makes sense. I can see what you mean. It'd be almost more believable in a way. I'm not sure how well the death by bird poop would work in a modern day situation.
I am totally fine with it because realistically, like, okay, I love Casino Royale, but I will say I dislike the first half much more than I enjoy the second half. The second half is a masterpiece. The first half is a little rough getting there, even though it's amazing. Like the cold open is incredible, and the gun catch on the crane is amazing. But like everything in between that is just like, this is very ridiculous. I know it's showing Bond as a complete reckless agent, but would a reckless agent really drive the bulldozer through? Like, he's killing so many more people than he's attempting to save. Like, I guarantee if you karmically he gets to whatever afterlife and they're doing up his totals and they'll be like, by the way, That bomb maker was destined to kill 4 people. You killed 48 trying to get him.
Also, you got 16 people fired, which led to some of them starving to death.
Right, exactly. And they had families too. And the kids came to resent their dads who had lost their construction jobs, which were barely paying the child support that wasn't being paid anyway.
And because of your actions, they all became bomb makers.
Exactly. Look at the karmic toll that Bond is causing.
Casino Royale's a terrible movie. Look at this. I'll boycott that movie forever.
It's just the blatant lack of, like, people die on that construction site and it's never really acknowledged. Like, that dude is like waving his welding torch, like, please get away from me, I'm trying to do my work here, and then he just get crushed by pipes and things. It's just, who cares about those people? So clearly accidents happen on construction sites, and in a big site filled with bird poop and heavy machinery, it's very feasible that somebody, I'm sure Dr. No would not have been the first person to have been crushed by bat guano on that island.
I want to see the work safety video. It says, watch out for English blonde men. And just has a picture of Daniel Craig going up that lift.
Yeah, the training video for all of the heavy machinery on Crab Key Island is just the intro to Casino Royale. It's like, don't do this with your bulldozer. See how he drives through the wall, and it's in black and white with a big red O with a cross through it.
Also, if somebody shoots at you whilst you're in the bulldozer, you will get hit. That glass is not going to deflect it for some ridiculous reason.
One might make it through, just one.
He uses a bulldozer like twice in those films.
Yeah.
Like even on the train.
The first is a bulldozer, and the second is
the other one's like a kind of a crane.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call those, but like, yeah, he's very, he finds the right bulletproof bulldozer every time.
Actually, I think it's like bulldozer's got bulletproof glass for some reason. The crane doesn't, because he got shot in Skyfall, didn't he? Which he miraculously recovered from a second later.
Well, that's what I said. Only once. He only got shot with. Patrice is shooting with a machine gun, and there's like 60 shots to that, but only one gets him.
A machine gun which has testicles on it for some reason.
Yes, big balls.
He's compensating for something, obviously.
No, Sean Connery.
This is mostly this podcast, because the reality with the with the Dr. No franchise.
The Dr. No extended universe.
We already talked about Dr. No 3. So we're finally got onto Dr. No 1. But Dr. No 1. And then
You need that rim shot tied up.
Yeah, right.
Hold on, making a marker.
Add it in post.
You only add rim shots twice, Mr. Bond. So the reality is there's 1,000 James Bond podcasts out there. And all of the points, like, of so much has been covered in these podcasts. So we like to have a goof on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Okay.
What do you have for notes, Dylan?
What do I have for notes?
Because mine are all over the. It's so hard to take notes on a film you just know so much about.
Yes.
Like, new films, obviously, I'm like all in. Like Goldfinger, I'm just like, I can recite that whole film to you right now,
Start. Do it.
Oh, right now?
You just said you would.
Okay. Nice. Very nice. Felix, say hello to Dink. Dink, say goodbye to Felix.
Whoa, where's the cold open?
Oh, I forgot he doesn't talk. Oh, he does talk in the cold open. Shocking. Positively
He's got
shocking.
more lines than. All right, you're letting me down, Mario. You're letting me
sorry.
down as my human VLC player.
Yeah, we don't watch the movies. I just recite all of them.
So on the opening credits, I like it has the dot goes across and then it holds on the and of Albert Broccoli and Harry Saltzman present. And I like how that is used again in Majesties. And that's pretty much the only times it's used. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that. So Peter Hunt must have liked that. And maybe the other directors. I don't know, or maybe Morris Bender. Who was responsible for that? Do you know? For those opening titles specifically.
I think that was
The
Morris
gun
Bender.
barrel.
I think that would have been Morris Binder, I think.
Yeah.
And I think the reason it's brought up again with Majesty's, maybe because it was a Peter Hunt special, or maybe just like they maybe had a thing in their mind. Every time we start with a new Bond, we'll put that at the beginning just to remind where this all came from. I forgot who took the photos. I know the person who
I
took
like
the
that theory.
Yeah, that's always my thought. And then because
Does it happen with Live and Let Die?
No, and I always assume that's because it kind of went back to Connery again, then back to Moore, and they're like, at this point, everything's screwed up. Like, what are we going to do now?
Okay, I like that.
I think I forget the name of the person who took the picture, because I actually took the picture of the inside of a gun barrel, and it took a lot of time to get it because of lighting and stuff. I think it was Morris Binder who designed the gun barrel sequence. I'm pretty sure it was him.
Wow. That's always been super iconic because I remember we talk about Die Another Day, how the idea of having the 3D bullet come at you is cool in concept, but like you're looking in the inside of an opposite's gun barrel, so
Bond missed.
having the bullet go in.
If anything, he's super effective at disabling an enemy's weapon and their hand, making their hand explode.
Those are really small bullets.
That's the and I appreciate what they're trying to do, and even Tokunaga, I think was the guy directed it. Even he was like, yeah, we want to do something fun for the 20th anniversary. It's like, well, do something a bit that makes a bit more sense. Like, come on. I don't dislike the idea. It's just when you actually stop and like, granted, with most of Bond, when you actually stop and think about it, it falls apart completely.
Right, you're looking literally through a gun, and then the gun starts bleeding. Unless that is a very porous gun with lots of air leaks. It's very shoddily screwed together. Anyway, so yeah, that's my only real note on that. I like all of the pieces of music, but blending them all together doesn't really work, and I'm not nuts about the sharp cut in. There's a lot of sharp cuts audio wise and video wise in this, but I guess they're things of the time, you know.
Yeah, I think if we did it where it was like the traditional cold open, all that, I would have cut it where you have your gun barrel, have your 3 blind mice sequence, like the ball kind of expands on them, like probably he still kind of played the track there, 3 blind mice going down the road and all that, and then you cut it right when the assassins come in and take the secretary, and they're going through the files, and you see the Dr. No folder.
And there's
as soon as Dr. No drops, there's your theme, and you can play the kind of drum, kind of samba type track, and that would have been nice because that's really like that dramatic music, da da da, and the Dr. No folder, and like who's Dr. No, what's going on?
Yeah,
and that would have been a great opening into the whole thing. It's kind of as a kind of a title card for you.
I've never thought of it that way, and that does make good sense, and it kind of matching with From Russia with Love having a title that doesn't technically feature Bond. I like that idea. I think because it's the introduction to the character, though, I feel like the way what actually we ended up with makes more sense, especially with the fact it's the Bond theme and we don't see him for a bit. I feel like it works out well. The cold opens of Bond are some of the best parts of some films, but with this one, I feel like it's kind of necessary to have the extended OTT because I feel like a cold open might have left some audiences confused if it hadn't featured Bond or if it had featured Bond or something. But so many parts of this film feature hangovers from like 1950s filmmaking. Like it wasn't a big budget film to make. And as you say, with the audio splicing out and with some of the horrific jump cuts you see from the cameras, there's a few little hangovers there. And the music is the biggest one for me. And as you say, the music getting dramatic with Dr. No. Every time that like sting plays, I just hate it. It's so like, it's like, oh no, look, a big alien. And then it's just like a cardboard puppet. And like, ah!
It's like, we get it. It says Dr. No. Jeez. I did like that. I remember seeing that opening sequence. I always loved that little, like, as cheesy as it looks. I think Dylan had a still of the bookcase coming down with the radio in the back. So I want that in my house, just to kind of pull down
Yeah,
Oh, that would be my ideal, alcohol closet. That'd be fantastic.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's a lot of little.
I took a bunch of screenshots. Let me share. And we can go through them that way.
Yeah, I remember he showed me the still of it. I was like, man, that does not look convincing at all as a bookshelf. Because as a young man, I'm like, that's pretty convincing. That's cool. How they get the books to sit like that? Then you look at it, it's like really bad, like a child painted it or something.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
I forgive you for all your sins.
Okay,
I'm on the
there
fence.
we go.
Actually, while this is happening, I'm just going to click a button quickly.
Of course. Connor P. This is going well.
Yeah, going very well.
But which one?
It's the coral picture with the crab.
I love it. I love it so much. You know what? I'm just gonna make that my background.
Oh, it's all warped now.
That's a cool effect.
Yeah, right.
Well-
Oh, there we go. Love the face too.
I was gonna make that my background, but I'll figure out how to do it in a second.
There
Oh,
it
my
is.
word.
So yes, that is the.
Oh, so that's kind of
the
brilliant. They
book
did,
but it looks terrible. It looks terrible on Blu-ray.
but-
You can really see how bad it looks.
but it looks like they just kind of sliced the spine of the books and just kind of super glued them to a
Yeah.
wall.
It really doesn't help that the actual books are right above it.
Right? For comparison.
Oh, it would have been amazing if all of those books had no spines.
Oh man.
So good.
Yeah, because there's some books that look like they're floating, for God's sake. So, like, from far
Yeah.
away, sure, it's convincing, I guess. But
Is that the Playboy bunny on the left?
I think it might be.
that's one of Fleming's Playboy magazines.
Does it say Live for Easter? Live.
Something Easter.
It's a book about Easter. Every
Brainwashing. Oh, damn. I wanted to read this book on brainwashing, and it turns out to be government spying. Pagan Spain.
When they made this film, and the only way to watch this really was in cinemas, they never expected three nerds to sit down and really tear this apart. did they?
This is not even what I expected right now. The origin of the sexes of something of Beatles.
These must be books that Fleming just wanted to burn or something.
It's not actually of the Beatles. That would be amazing though. It looks like doesn't it look like it's trying to say beach or something? Maybe it's by beach, the origin of the sexes.
Deal or death? That's just no, it's not a D. Bleach,
Yeah.
bleak. Yeah, look at that. That's hilarious.
Oh, look, and they have I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell by Tucker Max. What a weird book to have on that shelf. And that's
Harry Potter and the
actually
Chamber
one
of
of the books. I was just trying to think of like the scummiest book that one could have.
I'm going to build that if I can find a a cupboard that can like put that can open like that. I'm gonna rip a bunch of books together. Go to your local library, kids. Rip the spines of all the books. Throw them on your bookshelf.
So yeah, that's. I do have a note here. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place with these windows. When the three blind mice get up to the government house, they feel the sign, and the sign is painted letters.
Oh,
I know they're not actually blind, but if they were trying to fool anyone, I think that might be the giveaway. They're not Daredevil.
Yeah, like maybe if it was like the McDonald's arches, they're like, oh wait, this is McDonald's, okay. But like, I don't think you could read the hotel that you're at. This could be a FedEx building, for God's sakes. We don't know where we are. But then again, they are faking the blindness, so spoilers. So,
What?
but they are keeping, as we say in the wrestling world, kayfabe. They're keeping kayfabe, and they're staying in character as blind people until they don't need to.
All right, should we go through the wiki as we usually do?
Yeah, let's hit it.
I know it's Wikipedia, which is like the most informal source, but it's just our way of just having a loose structure to follow our notes and if anyone out there has not seen the movie for any reason, it'll keep them up with the plot.
If you haven't, why are you listening to a podcast about Sean Connery? Come on now.
But also listen to us, please. Keep listening, because we want you here. And it's okay if you haven't listened. Listen to the whole episode and then go watch the movie with everything we've said in mind. That's fun to do sometimes too.
There you go.
There you go.
I've done that plenty of times, like with other movies. Anyway, okay. John Strangways, the station chief of MI6 in Jamaica, is murdered along with his secretary by a trio of assassins before his home is ransacked. Don't worry, I don't do that voice when I go through the whole Wikipedia summary. I'd be exhausted. Even Bruce Wayne, before he goes out, is like, all right, I'm limited to 18 sentences. Oh, damn it, 17. 16. Shit. When news of Strangway's death reaches M, the head of MI6, he assigns intelligence officer James Bond to investigate the matter and determine if it is related to Strangway's cooperation with the CIA on a case involving the disruption of rocket launches from Cape Canaveral by radio jamming. Led Zeppelin on the radio is toppling these rockets. I'm sorry. It took me way too long to formulate that. When I edit it, I'll make it even longer.
I saw a thought bubble come up with you went through like 5 different bands. Led Zeppelin.
It was on a rotation.
That'll get the laugh. Led Zeppelin.
They're a jam band. They kind of are. When Bond arrives in Jamaica, he is accosted by a man claiming to be a chauffeur sent to... I'm all over the place with my words today. He is accosted by a man claiming to be a chauffeur, sent to collect him, but is really an enemy agent sent to kill him. Bond turns the tables on the agent, but before he can interrogate him, the agent kills himself by biting into a cyanide-laced cigarette. After visiting Strangway's house, Bond confronts a boatman with whom Strangways was acquainted. The boatman, named Quarrel, reveals that he is aiding the CIA and introduces Bond to their agent Felix Leiter, who is also investigating Strangway's death. All right, we're just gonna go paragraph by paragraph.
Yeah, so let's talk about this first kind of half. I'd like to talk about the introduction of Bond, iconic, just that first Bond, James Bond, which that always Roger Moore had too much fun with it.
Yes.
Where he would just walk into a room like, name's Bond, James Bond, but you need to have the last name set up, and you are Mr. You need to have that to give the Bond James Bond. Don't have him walk in and say Bond James Bond. So this is in my opinion probably the best Bond James Bond that Connery has done. I don't know about I wouldn't know how to rank the other ones because Craig's is really great in Casino, but this is probably the most iconic Bond James Bond, and he just looks so good. Like this is like quintessential Bond, just in the tux, suave and just super cool.
It's so like shockingly effortless how that first scene plays out. And I remember there's a story that actually before Connery, when he was first kind of doing these things, he was still quite a working class sort of individual, and he was taken out to experience a high life. And one of the instructions he was given was to sleep in his tux, was because he looked too stilted wearing it. So they told him to sleep in it, and it'll become more casual wearing it. And his walk, the Connery walk that we've seen so many times. But I say that's one for Marnie. Keep an eye out for that, Marnie. It's on a completely different level. But there's something just so casual and effortless, and just there's something so Connery about it. Like this is when people are talking about how Connery is their favorite Bond. This scene can kind of justify any of their thoughts for that. And I can completely understand. It's just so cool. It's such a good scene. And while you said that you wouldn't rank your you wouldn't say it's your favorite Bond, James Bond, it's mine by a landslide. Like the first chance they get and they smash out the park, it's so cool. And even though it's probably the first of 16 other occasions we hear the Bond theme in that film, it's pitched out so perfectly. It's just so damn cool.
It is definitely the coolest one. I think Casino Royale's may be a close second, but it's not set up in the way that Dr. Knows so beautifully is, because Sylvia Trench sets it up for him.
I must say, big props
He's
to
doubling her.
yeah, but I say big props to Unification because she pulls it off as much as Connery does in this scene, and that is why it works so well. If it was a really crap actor, and she's like, "And I admire your luck, Mister," it would have completely destroyed the entire scene. So, like, that's the thing. Working both ways, it's a fantastic combination.
And you know what? Shout out to the James Bond in No Time to Die. That one's clever. Where he's coming in back to MI6,
and they don't remember him.
and it's like Bond, and he looks up at him, James Bond.
Yeah, I'm gonna
They give him the name tag.
need more than one name here to log you into the system.
It's like that weird thing of like coming to age thing. It's kind of like, you know, it's like the new Jurassic Park movie when there was this one joke in it that there were these kids talking to, I think it was Jeff Goldblum's character or something, and it's like, what's the big deal about dinosaurs? They've been here since like the 90s. And it's weird because like technically in that universe, yes, it's the 90s, so we grew up with that, so it's like it's a dig to us, like, man, I'm old, like, what's going on? But it's kind of a dig to Bond too, where it's like, we don't care about James Bond. We have, you know, Jason Bourne and whoever else now. You know,
Yeah, we got
other
Jason Bourne working here at
spies.
MI6 now.
Yeah, imagine that would be a crossover.
Who are you? Wouldn't that be
yes, good.
amazing? Though I would, if at one point in No Time to Die, Matt Damon just walks in.
That's what
feel
Keanu
like
Reeves
that
and
would-
John Wick.
Yes,
Yeah.
both of them. Everyone walks in looking for assignments. We're all
yeah, so I-
freelancers now.
Oh, that would take me so out of it. It's one thing to take me out of it, like we're talking about Die Another Day a lot. You get that brilliant Q scene where you see every gadget throughout the years.
Is the
You
Geiger
know?
counter in there?
It's got to be.
I think the camera's there. Yeah.
The camera's there.
Wait, the camera that
Oh, I meant the Geiger counter from Thunderball. Sorry.
no, I was thinking the Geiger counter from this movie because
the big one with the
that
microphone.
So according to the pinball machine, that's the gadget in this movie.
Oh my God, is it?
I guess, and we're looking at the pinball machine. So, spoilers for the outside audience: we're working on a video episode about the Bond pinball machines because somebody near us has access to them.
Wow, awesome.
And he let us have access, quite impromptu access to the Dr. No pinball machine. And we noticed a lot of cool things. One of them we shared was that it shows Donald Pleasance as Blofeld, and then it's got a line of the villains from Dr. No to Blofeld, and it's got Pleasance as Blofeld, and then after it, Charles Gray as Blofeld, but it says under Pleasance it says Blofeld, and then under Charles Gray it says AKA Mr. Henderson.
Oh, well, that's a stretch. That's interesting.
Right? But this is from the pinball machine. It's got to
it's
be got to be canon.
Pinball is
it's
canon.
This Ian Fleming put this in his will.
I say, make sure you make a pinball machine and make sure to tell them about Blofeld. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, it showed the other gadgets too, and like, yeah, you think about it, that's the only gadget in this movie is the
Though,
because
according to the
he's-
Toshin archives, which I was looking at earlier, I have that big book. It's in the other room. I can bring it in.
Yeah.
I was looking. Do you have it?
Not personally, no.
No. It's a very good book, and I actually got it for quite a deal.
Nice. But I said one of the things I had as a kid, and it was like a card collecting game, and the main gadget they used because they had the main gadget they used was actually the dragon tank.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. The Toshin book says that I was reading through it and it says the first gadget that they made for the film was the tank.
Oh.
That was the first piece of equipment that they're like, we got to build this, a tank, not a gun or a briefcase. Or, I mean, granted, I know that those aren't in this movie, but even the Geiger counter is considered the gadget in this movie according to the pinball machine. But it's probably the only gadget. It's the only gadget Bond uses in this film, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and to think that the production team wasn't like, maybe we should make the Geiger counter first. No, a tank.
I want the tank.
That's where we start. Make it spit fire. I think we can just like turn this toaster into a Geiger counter. No. Tank.
Just one guy hyped up on coke, like, no, trust me, a tank that breathes fire. Paint jaws on it.
Speaking of gadgets, I, I only noticed it now. So isn't Q like in the future films? Is his actual like name like Major Boothroyd?
Yes.
Yes.
So that is technically Q in this first. It's not
Yes.
Desmond Llewellyn though.
No.
So that is Q.
Yes. He
So I don't
got
think I ever caught that.
he got a lot of sun and cigarettes in between.
His hands exploded.
Dr. Nolan from Russia with Love, yeah. He
Yeah,
gets stung by a bee and got palpatined. He got palpatined.
He got Palpatine. Because who plays? It's Peter Burton who plays Major Boothroyd.
Peter Dinklage.
Featured. Imagine. He was in the Avengers. That's a connection to Connery almost, not the original show.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I can't imagine
That's
the movie.
fun. Imagine.
As a 90-year-old man.
You might look a little rough. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting. So technically, the Walter is the gadget in a way, because he's still using that. That's what I like about this film a lot too, because it's like really, you get a lot of like kind of backstory with Bond, about the Beretta, and he had that tragic thing of him younger, and he was in the hospital for however long.
I have a note on that. I want to see the story of the Beretta jamming. He spent 6 months in hospital, M says. 6 months. What happened? What is this story? I want this story. Is this in one of the books that I've forgotten about?
Not as no. I mean, the book that comes previously is from Russia of Love, where Bond dies.
Yes, and he's out of action for a while.
Yeah, if the Beretta had jammed then, and that's what caused it, then I guess that could be kind of a loop. But it doesn't. He just gets kicked.
I always get it wrong. What's the order of the novels?
Let's pull it up here.
It's off the top of my head: Casino Royale,
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die, Moonraker, Diamonds Are Forever, From Russia of Love, Doctor No, Goldfinger,
Yep.
I think. Then Spy Who Loved Me.
For Your Eyes Only.
Oh, For Your Eyes Only, the short story compilation. Then I lose all
Thunderball.
track of it there.
Then Thunderball.
Wow.
Then The Spy Who Loved Me.
And Spy Who
Then
Loved Me. Then Majesty's Secret Service.
You Only Live Twice.
No, Twice.
Man with the Golden Gun.
Living
Octopus
Daylights.
See Living Daylights.
Yeah.
Woo! You win. I'm not even sure if you're all correct, but yeah, I've been wanting to like.
You win
get
access
through
to
all
the
those.
Wikipedia page that I just read from.
So yeah, it's interesting that like
I paid that little fee they're always asking for, and now anyone can view it.
You're welcome, everyone.
They're going to shut down any day now.
It's my boy, guys.
So it's interesting that you say so. Live and Let Die is the first one you said.
No,
Right?
Casino
Or
Royale.
Casino Royale, but Live and Let Die is after, or is that, it's early on, right?
Yeah, second.
Second, because I did notice in this too, because I recently watched Live and Let Die. There are a few kind of parallels I've noticed in the first like hour or so, just with the similar scenes. Like you think of like this is the only time you really see Bond at his flat or apartment. You actually go to his place. We get Bond's flat at the beginning of Live and Let Die, which I love. That beautiful robe, the coffee machine cut, and all that. And then like just the scene of him in the hotel room, kind of rigging everything and make sure there's no wires or anything. And it's like I'm like look at this. I'm like there's a lot of parallels with Live and Let Die. So I wonder if that was the thing. They were kind of inspired by Live and Let Die in this first film, or if that was like, does that happen in a novel? I'm not sure. I never went through them all.
I said there's meant to be a recurring character because Quarrel first appeared in Live and Let Die, the novel, comes back in Doctor No, then dies.
That's the other parallel. It's two
Yeah.
quarrels.
And I think then, and then
Wow.
in the film, they'd be like, "Oh, it's Quarrel Junior,
Son of Quarrel.
son of Quarrel." Yeah,
In No Time to Die, after the tragic Felix death, when he was on the raft, I really wanted
Dude,
that.
spoilers. I haven't even seen this movie.
Oh, really? Who was I with then? For God's sakes.
Bob
But
Dylan.
when he when he was in the raft and that boat comes to rescue him, I really wanted it to be a fishing boat with Quarrel the Fifth or something, just as a fun little nod. Like, wow, there's so many. He's like Nurse Joy from Pokemon. There's just so many Quarrels. It's crazy.
But here's how it happens. You see Bond sitting there in the raft, and then it cuts to him holding. It's like the close up of him holding the cigar, and then it kind of pulls out just a little bit, and in frame enters a hairbrush, and you pull out and you see the arm holding the hairbrush, and Bond looks up. quarrel. And then it cuts to the boat and whatnot.
When I saw that scene, I always wanted, at the end of Thunderball when the plane flies over and picks them up and they jet off. I wanted
Yes.
that to happen, but with Craig looking sad the entire time getting dragged.
I think we're writing a better Bond movie, gentlemen. This is great. You're literally just staring at the cigar still, and then
As he winds blowing past, like
but still grumpy.
he's super
Like
grumpy
actively
about it.
being grumpy against the wind. So see, Mario and I have said, or I've said it, but we've discussed it on this podcast. I think that AI technology is clearly taking over very quickly, but its best use is making the art that can never be made. Like people are complaining about AI art that is stealing artist styles. 100% agree with that. That's not right. AI should only be used to make the movies that will never ever exist. For example, make Majesties with Sean Connery.
I say, by the time you've finished and gone through every single Connery film, the ability to put Connery in any film will now be available. So the podcast will never end. You guys are thinking ahead of the curve.
Exactly. So let's put Daniel Craig into all of these ridiculous scenarios as well. And
I'm into it.
Just if you can make Melissa McCarthy into Arnold Schwarzenegger, I want all of these things that we're describing. Every single joke that we make, can somebody out there listening with access to AI technology just turn these into the art that will never exist otherwise?
Yeah, I think we talked about it on the show before. I definitely want the deep fake of Connery and Majesties.
Yeah.
Like, man, that would be, and I want to see
I want to see Lazenby in more films.
Yeah, but imagine Connery in Live and Let Die. That would have been interesting.
Imagine Lazenby in Casino Royale or No Time to Die.
Imagine George Lazenby doing parkour in a construction yard.
Yep.
Indubitably.
This never happened to the other fellow.
I will say that the AI for that would be much worse, just based on the amount of recordings that there are of Lazenby compared to all the other Bonds. Like, it would be like you'd pull from like Universal Soldier, and it would be like shoddy VHS AI audio. So like every like sixth syllable just sounds like garbage.
And all the footage is taken from the films where he had a beard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the mustache fluctuates in and out like Justice League.
Get him chasing Chuck Norris on the parkour thing. Then we can make it canon with whatever film that was.
Oh my god. He's in a film with Chuck Norris?
Yeah, he fights Chuck Norris.
Really? What film is this?
Oh, what was it? It's a really bizarre one. He gets
It's on our list.
He gets his ass kicked. I think it was late. This must have been Sean. I know something of somebody else, and just for some reason inserting him into it.
Game of Death?
The issue is I've never seen any Chuck Norris films. I've just seen clips of them.
Same, dude. And as we've said before, we're probably going to do other seasons of this, of the other Bond actors, but the
nice.
Lazenby one will be the last one. It doesn't look like they've been in any movies together.
Oh, I thought they had been. My bad. My apologies.
Oh, Roger Moore was it Roger Moore?
Maybe. It's been a hell of a long time since I saw whatever clip I thought I was thinking of.
Because it might have been on The Saint.
Oh, really?
I mean, look, I don't know. I'm trying to. I'm doing. I'm intrigued by this now because I want to see which Bond fought Chuck Norris. Maybe not. Let's see.
What is this? ChuckNorris.io? Chuck Norris is a free JSON API for hand-curated Chuck Norris facts. What is this? Okay.
It sounds like a meme from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. I think they're pulling our leg here.
We're digging in too deep here. All right. Now,
Anyways, Doctor No.
what was that?
Anyways, Doctor No.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. The audio froze there for a second. Anyways, Dr.
There we
No.
go.
So,
That's really a second paragraph then.
yes. All right, here we go. Dr. No is the nick.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. Dr. No is the nickname given to a suspected American serial killer thought to be responsible for the murders of at least 9 women and girls in Ohio between 1981 and 1990. Wait a second.
Wait a minute. This doesn't sound
Wait
right.
a second. Anyway,
Oh, that's with the deleted scene.
that is a real Wikipedia article that I was reading from. Anyway,
I want to see your Bond movie.
so okay, I don't think I've covered all the notes that I've had up to that point, though. So we always mark the time at which we see him. We see his hands first at 7:08, and then at 7:23 we see his face, and then at 8 minutes we get his first line in the film, and that's really the first time we see his face. But actually, I'm sorry, 7:23 when we see his face, it's the back of his head, but you can see his face. So I'm counting it. This technicalities. When he gets to the airport, and he goes into the phone booth, you can see the woman with the camera walk up to the chauffeur, and they clearly know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that. That was a little detail I noticed this time watching it.
Just the fact that I love that him messing with them. And I didn't realize, is that Quarrel driving the car following them?
Yes.
Because I remember they mentioned it later, and I was like, was that Quarrel in the car? I guess I'm using him in the red shirt. I think he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt in the car or something. So that's why I was confused.
There we go. I literally just clicked on it and then moved it away. Okay, here we go. We're in the. I'll share my screen here with you, so we can all confirm whether this is Quarrel in there or not. Jack Lord's amazing sunglasses. Okay. Does that look like Quarrel to you? I don't think that's Quarrel.
I don't think it is.
be.
I've never thought it was Quarrel.
Okay.
Huh.
I feel like if it was, they would have made a point to show his face, maybe.
That is who's tailing them, right? Yep. Same car.
Give me that. That shot with that look, man. Only Connery could do the fedora.
Well, that and Michael Jackson. Shout out Under the Fedora podcast.
Well, that's in one that's a completely different color to any of item of clothing that he's currently wearing. And that hat's actually green.
Is it really?
It is like the way the film's grained, you can't really tell. But sometimes at some angles, in reality, it was actually a green hat, like very dark, very dark olive, but it was green. It's you can see
I can kind of see it.
There's some kind of like pre-production pictures which you can tell from it, but it's lucky the colors were compressed so much because it was kind of a bad combination.
Huh.
I just love how subtly he uses it to hide his face from the camera when he walks past. I just love how smooth that is.
Oh yeah, he's really fast with it too.
Let me catch that again.
Oh, right here. And
Oh wow, that's fast! Wow, I did not even catch that.
Oh yeah,
Hot
spider senses were
diggity
tingling.
damn!
I
Wow.
could tell you were trying to take a photo of me. Give me pictures of Spider-Man. Oh, now he's J. Jonah Jameson.
All right, well that's who he is for the episode now.
He's J. Jonah Jameson.
He's a menace to our fine city. I'm glad
Daily Bugle.
I'm glad it's Roger Moore that goes to Harlem and not me, because I don't want anything to do with any city that has Spider-Man.
It's incredible.
Thank you.
That's me.
Bring me pictures of Spider-Man.
Push fella, call a Daily Bugle, please.
Robbie
Doc
Push
Ox and the Loosh.
Robbie Pushfella Robertson.
I like the idea of Robbie is Puss fella.
Exactly. It's just his middle name.
Robbie Puss fella Jones, or whatever his last name is.
I do also. Did you notice that she licks the light
Yeah,
bulb?
what does she lick?
The light bulb.
That's a light bulb?
Yeah, it's a light bulb for the cameras, and it helped the connection when you were setting it in back in the day.
Huh. Okay.
Well, because that's what she scratches Quarrel's face
Yes.
with. I thought it was it looked like a piece of chalk to me.
No, most of the cameras those days, if it was a bright enough flash, the bulb would only be good for one picture because it would burn out instantly.
Huh.
But they had a crap ton of light bulbs with them, and for either taking pictures of people or smashing against people's faces.
Jesus.
Multi purpose ones too. It's like Hawkeye has different arrows. She comes equipped with different.
She has different light
Dr. No has supplied her with different light bulbs with different purposes. This one's a smoke bomb, so she can get out of any scenario.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. What other notes do I have? Bond knows blood types. When he sees the blood type on the floor,
Does he say it's paint?
I forget what exactly he says, but it's like it's O.
Oh, yes, that's her blood patch. They've grouped it as ORH positive.
And that's her group, all right.
Isn't it HAO positive or something? It's got an H in there.
Does he say? I thought the officer said it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's your group, all right.
Oh,
That's ORH positive. That's her group. All right,
one of my
beautiful.
favorites.
Is that like a thing where it's like
Still,
a joke?
What was that?
I was like, yeah, I'm like, how does he have that? Like maybe Q Branch or whatever gave him that information, but like,
Oh, I would like to assume he's just faking. He's like, yeah, I knew that.
it's like, oh yes, we dated. I know her blood type, of course.
ORH positive. Yeah, no, I knew all about that. Yeah, read it on the flight over. Whatever.
I will say this is the most detective-y Bond we
Yes.
get.
Mm.
That's why I like about it too, because it's like him. He's like he's on the job. He's there to work. Yes, he has a little bit of fun when he's in Jamaica, but like he's like, bring me here, bring me there. Let me
Bring
investigate
me
everything.
every fucking where.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very Batman-y kind of Bond where he's actually solving, because that's one big joke in
Swear
a
to
lot of
me.
the Bond stuff. It's like he's not a great spy sometimes. He gets caught a lot. Goldfinger, even Connery says it. Like
He's behind the 8 ball on that one.
he's behind everything. He should know everything before it happens, but he's figuring it out along with us in the audience. It's interesting, but I feel like this is a more ahead of the game Bond that we get.
Is there any other? What other films would you say he's an effective detective, and a temporary secretary?
Thunderball. He finds the boat. Sorry, the sunken Vulcan.
Yeah.
So that's kind of detectiving.
I feel like some of the Tomorrow Never Dies, maybe.
Yeah, when he's going through Carver Media.
Yeah, so
Except for
that's
maybe
kinda
that
good.
moment when he just shows up at Carver's party and he's like, "So maybe you did the whole crime?"
It was a great one-liner.
I know I'm paraphrasing that one, but he basically just calls him out right in front of everyone. Like, so you're the bad guy of this piece, yes?
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. That'd be a great one line for Bond. Right
Only you can prevent forest fires.
the quicker pup.
The what?
Bounty. Like a little Connery tongue twister. I'll tell you, we should write a Bond movie.
That's
Yeah.
the Connery tongue twister is his cunnilingus move.
But anyways,
Sorry. We work blue on this podcast.
Oh, I appreciate it.
we
Thank God.
We run OR positive here on this podcast.
Oh, really? Okay. The in-room hotel drink making. You have room service come to your room to make you a drink and then leave. That's
Which also happens in Live Let Die with Whisper.
Yes,
Is that his
Whisper.
name? Not Whisper. And him was like, "Do you want me to pour it?
He's like, what?
Do you want me to open it?" He's like veins popping out of his head.
and just ignorant Roger Moore is just like, "What's wrong with you? Speak up. Speak more normally, like me." I know I'm being insensitive.
That's how he takes down a henchman, by just sizing him up in his head. Just
I bet your parents didn't love you.
Well, joke's on you. I didn't have any. Ha ha.
so good.
And look at you, you don't even have a hand.
What's the Austin Powers, Michael Caine? And look at you, you ain't even got a name tag. Just fall down.
Look at you, you're a tripod.
You'll try.
So the hair trick is so cool. It's really cool.
The hair trick?
Yes, the hair on the closet door is very cool.
Oh yeah.
And
And the powder on the attache case.
I think, yeah, seeing the spy stuff, especially as James Bond is famously one of the worst spies ever. So to see him actually doing spy stuff consistently is pretty good. And I think mixed in with detective work especially, it really works well with this film. Like, it doesn't need the Bond theme, but to be fair, it's still just a nice scene anyway. Like, the fact he's doing the secret spy stuff and it's like... It's kind of OTT, but no, I enjoy those scenes quite a bit. For what is essentially just Sean Connery walking around doing stuff, I do thoroughly enjoy it.
But that's some of the best stuff in the books is, like, even in Casino Royale, is like just him checking, like seeing that the fireplace is bugged, right? And like little things like that. Those are the most interesting parts of the spy story, because in a spy's reality, that's probably a lot of what it is. You kind of just acting normally for a long amount of time, going about business, and then when you're in the privacy of your own space, or a space that's yours temporarily or whatever, kind of casually but with a sense of paranoia, double checking everything.
Yeah, no, I can enjoy that.
Though I would like to see the extended scene where he leaves the room and then it cuts back to the hair on the closet door and it just kind of peels and it pling and then pops off.
The wind blows it and it blows onto the suitcase, rubbing away all the talcum powder.
Exactly. Like the Forrest Gump feather. It's the Sean Connery hair, and then it goes through his whole movie career, and then it gets to him as an old man with no hair, and the one hair comes back and it's still brown.
Goes straight down his throat and kills him.
Oh jeez. Lieutenant Dan said I should invest in some kind of fruit company.
So I just started running.
Well, I guess I'll go home for a while. I'm a bit tired.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
What's the matter, Jenny? Do you have a cough too cold? So when Bond goes up to meet Quarrel is painting his boat. The paint he is using is red, but the part of the boat that is red is the bottom of the boat, but he's painting the top of the boat. And then, so yeah, he's rubbing his brush against the top of the boat, but the paint in the can is red, and the bottom of the boat is red. But it's implied that he's painting the top, and then Bond leans on the top.
Yes,
because it's not actually being painted on. So he doesn't think about it. He knows that it's not actually being painted on, so he just leans on it. But in the reality of the scene, the top of the boat is fresh, wet paint.
Or was doing spy stuff too. That's the only way around it.
He is the sweeper agent in Quantum of Solace.
Exactly.
It's the same guy. Just like faking doing things to stay inconspicuous. And that's my notes for that. Yeah. Have we gotten to the... All right, I'll just keep going with the wiki here. Does anybody else have any notes that they'd want to talk about during these parts?
No, pretty in depth.
Okay. All right. Bond learns from Felix that the CIA traced the radio jamming signal to Jamaica, which was a British colony until 1962, and that Strangways was helping to pinpoint its exact origin. Quarrel reveals that before Strangways died, the pair collected mineral samples from an island called Crab Key, where people are forbidden to go. Upon finding a receipt from a local geologist, Professor R.J. Dent, Bond makes inquiries with him about the samples and Crab Key, but is suspicious of his answers when he claims the samples checked out as normal. Following the meeting, Dent travels to Crab Key to meet its reclusive owner, for whom he works, to inform him of Bond's visit. Under strict instructions, Dent attempts to have Bond killed with a tarantula, a non-lethal spider. However, Bond kills the spider and sets a trap for Dent. When the geologist arrives, Bond holds him at gunpoint, revealing that he believed Dent was asked to check Strangway's samples to see if they were radioactive before killing him. Okay. We have any notes on these?
I did have a note about Crab Key, because we do talk about sometimes like real life locations versus the Bond franchise. Crab Key, I guess, was a fictional island, but there is a Crab Key beach in Jamaica, which we should go for some volleyball sometime. I think that'd be a fun time.
I'm down. Yeah. Forgive me, I'm trying to pull up one clip.
Oh, there's the hair.
There is the hair. Oh, it's still sharing it. Forgive me. I was going to...
I thought it was odd when you had Pornhub open. I was like, come on now.
During the podcast?
For God's sakes, man.
Don't mind me, guys. I'm just going to turn my screen off for a little bit. Okay. I brought
this dancing guy.
Yep, the best extra ever. At 31:53 here. Strange on VLC. I can't go to the exact time, but
wait for it.
Wait for it.
And when that camera pans left.
And he shows up twice too.
He does. Yeah, right. Yeah. Whoa, there he is.
Oh, so good. And he stops right as he realizes, like, oh, it's my time to be on the camera. On the camera. On camera. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I mean, that guy, the song they played during that's called Jump Up.
Yes, Jamaican Jump Up.
It's a nice, it's not a casual song. It's a nice jumpy up, it's a dance song.
Oh, it's a casual relaxation song. I listen to it go to sleep.
Exactly. That was like
432 hertz.
That dancing he was doing, I've recognized from raves at 2:00 in the morning. With foam coming out by the side of the mouths.
He's the only thing missing. Yeah, somebody AI a pacifier into his mouth and some glow sticks in his hand. Consistently, every time I watch that, it makes me happy, and it makes my partner Nicole happy as well. It's one of the best parts of the whole movie.
I like to think Puss Fella is saying, "Do you want a glass of water or something? You've been here for 7 hours dancing like that to that same song."
And when he shows up again, he's doing the same dance.
Which, speaking of music, I do want to make a point, like a observation, if you will. Are the only two songs on this island "Jump Up" and "Mango Tree"? Because you hear "Mango Tree" in on 3 different occasions. You have Honey Rider singing on the beach, for God's sakes. Like, is that the only song they had license to? I guess, or
it's the only original written for the film. That's why.
Yeah, I guess, but man, every
I like
single
that song.
Record player you pass by in the hotel, or even at what's her
Taro's
name's
apartment,
at Taro's apartment,
also
it's always there.
My next picture. Let me share the screen again.
I think it's just hello to Crab Key Radio. We've still only got 2 CDs, and you're going to hear them.
Here we go again.
Still waiting for that donation of a 3rd CD.
Well, no, it would only be one. It'd be the A and the B side. Yeah. And at this point, yeah, that's the only rate. We can see here there's at least 2 records in Jamaica. So
they also have an 8-track of the James Bond theme song that plays in the lobby sometimes.
Yes, that too. But
Mr. Bond's coming back. Quick, put the 8-track in. He's going to pass by.
He loves this song.
It's the original version of Black Eyed Peas' "Let's Get It Started." The original, the uncensored version. That's Bond's favorite song. I love.
Also, I love this.
Taro's...
I love the Smirnoff product placement, by the way.
Yeah. Right.
A lot of Smirnoff.
I really
Label's
love
right there.
her record player there. The thing is beautiful.
That's a nice little
suitcase vinyl. Anyway. Miss Tarot and her hair. What do we think of Miss Tarot and her hair?
Okay, can you get an image of Miss Tarot real quick? I can pull it up.
Yeah,
online.
pull up one. I didn't get one of her.
Also featuring her hair.
Yes. It's ridiculous. It's Queen Amidala of the Naboo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just want when they talk about I like your hair up. It's like, oh, do you not like it like this? Like, please no. Any high, any high, you'll kill us all.
Usually they are Marge Simpson.
I love it. You don't like it low? No, you're fucking dreadful.
Do you like this? I suppose.
Yeah, let's trade hair pieces.
And it was actually really funny because of watching this. My wife walked in and she heard the line of Connery in bed saying, "I'm hungry. Let's go out and eat."
I'm feeling Italian and musical.
Yeah, yeah. She was like, "Let me make Chinese meal." Right away, she's like, "Oh no! Please don't tell me this is the scene with the Chinese girl." She was referring to the intro of "You Only Live Twice." I'm like, "No, it's not the Peking duck scene. Don't worry, you're safe this time."
I must say, based on the questions, I will be referencing that scene later.
Yeah, oh,
That is definitely
good.
coming back up.
Good. We talk about that scene a little too much sometimes. but I didn't realize she was. So I guess she is, according to the Bond wiki, she is Chinese and Jamaican.
The character, the actress is clearly English.
I'm like, yeah, because same thing with the henchmen in Doctor No's lair. They're all like, they say that, like, I think it's Doctor No, the lair. Yeah, they have.
They're
all,
actually Asians.
Yeah, but some weren't. Like some were just like some look like my uncle Butch over there, for God's sakes. I'm like, he's not Chinese at all.
Oh yes. I hold on. I have a picture of him. I believe. Chris, maybe you can answer. Is this the same actor? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sharing my screen. I always share screen. There we go. Is this the same actor that Roger Moore lets go of the tie in Spy Who Loved Me?
No, I know what you mean. It's not. Oh, what's his name?
No.
No, it's not Fakesh. That's what he's asking him. No, it's not the same guy.
Cairo.
No, I'm afraid it's not him.
Okay.
Oh, because I made a comment too about that. I'm like, where he's been in another film before, but I guess not. He does look familiar.
I feel like in that picture, Connery really knows he's looking at him.
Yeah. For some reason I have two here. Wait, especially cutting between the two.
Yeah.
Like the guy in the back's kind of going with the beat.
Yeah. That's enough of that, Dylan.
I do love that Connery outfit though.
Oh,
he does make that look good.
Yeah, the
And it
Nehru
looks
suit,
very comfy.
It's a weird one because it's obviously a very Asian style of suit, but yeah, Connery pulls it off so damn well.
Yeah, he looks very good in it.
Right, just hit chaps, BRB.
What's the first movie we get that in?
I think
Is it
Thunderball.
Thunderball?
Yeah.
Not in Goldfinger? In the bank?
Are you talking about the bum 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 bow
Yeah, does that show up before
007
Thunderball?
theme.
from Russia of Love when they steal the Lecter?
Really? Okay.
That's right. When they're in the building.
It's
there,
the
yeah.
hardest song to find because it's a 007 theme, and every time you search it anyway, it's
Exactly.
like the James Bond theme.
Yeah.
It's only featured
On the
with my
Thunderball
knowledge, the
vinyl.
Thunderball vinyl. Yeah.
I'd
I
have to
thought that
play
was-
my From Russia with Love vinyl again. I have all of them up to License to Kill.
Yeah, there's the there's the official 007 theme done by John Barry, which is okay, but the one titled Bond Steals the Lecter is a much better rendition. And also Roland Shaw did a fucking kick-ass version of it as well.
Bond steals the Lecter. Okay. That's what it's called.
It's on Spotify if that helps.
007 takes the Lecter. Okay.
007, thank you, sorry.
007 takes the Lecter. Okay. All right. I'm just going to, for time's sake, I'm just going to speed right through the last 3 paragraphs of this. So we have all of the film to talk about.
Sure thing.
And we can bounce around freely. After checking Quarrel's boat with a Geiger counter, the gadget of the film, Bond determines that Strangways must have suspected that the radio jamming was coming from Crab Key, and so persuades Quarrel to take him out there. The following day, after arriving, Bond meets Honey Rider, a shell diver. When armed guards arrive in a boat, Bond and Quarrel take Rider with them and escape into the swamp. At nightfall, the group encounter a flame tank disguised as a dragon to deter locals, which kills Quarrel. Bond and Rider are captured and taken to a hidden base, whereupon they are swiftly put into decontamination due to the swamp being contaminated with radioactivity. After being led to private quarters set up for them, they are rendered unconscious with drugged coffee. Upon awakening, the pair are escorted to dine with the base's owner, Dr. Julius No, a Chinese-German criminal scientist who has prosthetic metal hands due to radiation exposure. I swear, while speeding through that, I almost said a Chinese-German criminal Scientologist.
That's Bond 26.
Have you heard of Lord Xenu 007? Well, shit. You're not supposed to know about that one yet. Bond learns that No was a former member of a Chinese crime organization, Tong. Wait.
The Tongs.
Sorry. Is a type of organization. Okay, I'm sorry. That's what his hands should have been replaced with. I'm sorry. Tongs.
Nice. Sorry, I muted myself to sneeze and I was laughing. I realized it was just...
I'm sorry. Until he stole $10 million in gold and now works for the secret organization Spectre, the special executive for counterintelligence, terrorism, revenge, and extortion. And it wasn't until this time when he said the 4 points, and I'm like, oh yeah, special executive for counterintelligence, terrorism, revenge, extortion. Those are 4 things, but you forget because the acronym is weird. Anyway, the radio jamming being conducted by No is being planned to disrupt the Project Mercury space launch at Cape Canaveral using a radio beam, which he states will be a demonstration of Spectre's power. When Bond refuses to join Spectre, No has Ryder taken away and Bond beaten and imprisoned. However, Bond manages to escape his cell through an air vent and disguises himself as a worker before infiltrating the base's control center. Bond discovers that the radio beam is being prepared to disrupt the launch is powered by a nuclear pool reactor and overloads it as the launch commences. Dr. No attempts to stop him, but falls into the reactor pool and is boiled to death. As the base's personnel evacuate, Bond frees Ryder before the two escape the island by boat, moments before the base is destroyed. Felix finds the pair adrift at sea after their boat runs out of fuel and has them towed to safety by a Royal Navy ship. However, as Ryder passionately kisses him, Bond lets go of the tow rope to embrace her.
Which
Roll
is
credits.
It's so stupid because then Felix is like, right, okay, turn around, we've got to get them again.
Exactly. Waste gas.
And I thought, and you assume that they have already done the deed because they have that cut of like them kind of like getting close, and then they cut back to Felix showing up. So you figure, oh, they're all set. Like, nope, haven't even started yet. We figure we've been here for an hour just talking.
Well,
and we decided now, as they're towing us, now let's do it.
I do have a work in blue again. I have a note on this section. I will share my screen again. I don't want to jump right to the end, but this will be my note before we jump back a bit. So we can see here in the boat. Okay, first of all, this screen. These are my grandparents. Like, and you could show that to anybody and be like, those are my grandparents in the '60s. That's Grandma Joan and Papa John. You know,
Papa John.
Oh my God! Look how clearly you can see Connery's arm tattoo.
Right? You see it a couple of times very clearly in this movie. He's got 2 of them. There are two tattoos there.
I think the closest you can see it in a Bond film, which is it's kind of not a Bond film, is Never Say Never Again. I know you see it very clearly there.
How dopey is that face too?
Oh, he's like,
a pretty lady.
I know you see the tattoo very clearly in Goldfinger as well when he finds Jill. But the one that gets me is in Thunderball. I think it's before he gets onto the weird spine rack machine. He rubs his arm against his towel and leaves some of the makeup on the towel, which is then there for the rest of the scene, which I hadn't noticed for years. But if you look at it, there's just this weird skin-colored patch on the towel.
Oh my god.
I wonder if it's the Bajra towel. We can live inside that for 3 days.
Old joke.
Call back.
He gets a call back for like 4 episodes.
The Next Man.
Next Man. That's right. Next Man episode.
So my notes here at the end, real quick, or the screenshots I got. We see a British flag for I think the only time in this film.
Whoop.
And then so.
And that's technically a Jamaican flag too, right? Yeah.
I thought it was a Navy flag, wasn't it?
What was that Navy
Yeah,
flag?
I think the bottom one is a Navy flag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Nice.
So I took work in blue here now. So what is implied by this image, right?
Good job.
Yes. Okay, now we cut back. Connery clearly didn't understand what was going on because he's like, I'll join you here on the floor.
Why are you by my knees?
Let's kiss some more. As James Bond, I love kissing.
He's a kissing guy.
And then also he lets the rope go, but he like holds on to it as he lets it slide through his hand. So now he's gonna have sex with rope burn hands.
I say that wasn't him holding on; that was his hand convulsing because of the pain. Also, really crap ending music too.
Yes. Yeah. I do really like the credit, the how the credits play out with this red
Oh, absolutely.
gun
cool.
barrel image. That honestly, it looks like I'm playing a video game from like 1988
Yeah, I know what you mean.
on the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, there's some 3D-ness to that.
Right. Okay, let's keep going through these notes here and wipe this thing out. Oh yeah, speaking of towels, Bond bites Taro's towel. Did anyone notice that?
Yeah, that was a
when he
little
takes the
odd.
towel off Taro. He like
You think he's gonna smell it?
yeah,
but he, like,
that's what I thought he was doing. I'm like, is he about to? Why'd he bite it?
I like how it feels on my teeth.
I haven't had
I'm
lunch
tripping. That guy at the club gave me what he was on, and I need something to suck on. There's moisture in this.
Yet. He did mention he was really hungry for Italian, so he's like, "I'm gonna eat this towel as an appetizer."
It cuts to
Italian.
him. I feel Italian and musical. It cuts to the club, the rave. Let's get it started. The original version is playing, and he's eating a bowl of Alfredo.
This pleases me. Good thing we found the only Olive Garden here on Crab Key.
Now Daniel Craig would do that.
These breadsticks are phenomenal.
With that dancing commercial he did recently, he would totally be like, okay, I'll be in the club and have some pasta while the Black Eyed Peas play.
You can tell Craig is like, also like, I'm sure he's a little bummed out, but you can tell he's relieved that he doesn't be Bond anymore.
Yes.
He's kind of like, I can let loose again, and like, you know, Knives Out was fantastic, and Glass Onion, and you know, so I like seeing him. I mean, he's great as Bond, but you can tell he's relieved.
Well, I think he wants to do. I think he wants to do funny stuff now because, like, even in the last Bond film, he's starting to add a few more humorous things in. So I feel like he's wanted to do funny stuff for a while, but it's kind of difficult when you're Bond and not Roger Moore.
Yeah, because even Pierce, like he mentioned in interviews, he wanted to be a little bit like more, and that kind of you kind of see that in like Tomorrow Never Dies, which I think is one of the big issues people have. Is it tonally it's weird because you have kind of like in World Is Not Enough too, where it's kind of like dark, but then you got that Christmas Jones line. I thought Christmas only came once a year. That's kind of like, okay, that's cute for like Roger Moore, but not for this film, man. Come on.
I love the multi-levelness, the multi-layeredness of I've always wanted Christmas in Turkey.
And it cuts to him at a Christmas dinner with his family eating a turkey.
I've always wanted Christmas in Turkey.
He's inside the turkey.
What's her name? What's her name? Actress.
Denise Richards.
Denise Richards is outside in the cold as it snows, like with her hands up against the face up against the window, like a sad puppy. She's like, "No, I thought it was innuendo." I was like, "No, I was serious. I wanted to
no.
climb inside a turkey on Christmas."
Just me.
Okay, my next note is that this woman at the desk in the Crab Key Hotel, she shows up twice, and I think she's the most beautiful woman in the whole film.
Oh.
Like, maybe that's me. She's wearing like a beautiful blue dress the first day, and then a beautiful pink dress the second day. Stunning. Anyway,
Look how great Connery's suit is. That's kind
Right?
of how I based my wedding suit on his Goldfinger attire from when he's on
Kentucky.
the ramp and it was in Kentucky, the gray 3-piece suit. I wanted the white suit, but I'm like, I don't think I could pull off the white suit. That's the one everybody wants to pull off. But I love Connery in the classic gray suit.
Yeah.
I prefer a 3-piece, but I think he's a 2-piece on these. But yeah, just smart shoes. He looks like $1 million.
he puts his arms around two ladies. He's like, "I prefer a 3-piece as well." Smooth as silk, Sean.
That'd be a great Men's Warehouse commercial. Just, I prefer a 3-piece myself. But anyways, yeah.
Tell me, ladies, have you seen Spider-Man recently? Do you have any pictures of him? Oh, he's sending you selfies now.
No way, he's Peter Parker.
No, couldn't possibly be. Peter Parker's my best friend. The room behind me, this Dr. No's base, probably the second coolest set in the whole movie, besides Dr. No's apartment.
I feel like just for the aesthetic of it, like Ken Adams smashed it out of the park. Apparently this set only worked from this specific camera angle. If you're anywhere else in the room, it looked like crap, but this angle apparently looked amazing.
That's interesting because we only see it from that one angle.
Exactly. I think that's good. With the budget they had, Ken Adam, who was a legendary set designer throughout his entire career, just made it work somehow. And I've read reports that like it was one of those things people were dreading seeing that scene in reality, like in the cinema, because they'd seen it in reality, and then actually the way it worked out, they're like, "Oh shit, fair play, Ken."
Wow, and I'm sure the audience was dreading that scene because it's terrifying.
Got a spider.
It's not like
it's
actual
tense.
like horror movie terrifying. I think No Time to Die might have the most scary thing in Bond. But this is a pretty
that cold open.
yeah,
Right?
but this is a pretty damn tense and terrifying scene.
Very menacing.
Even when you have Anthony Dawson, Professor Dent, sitting in that chair, and Dr. No's talking like, "Why haven't you killed him?" Blah blah, and slowly the camera zooms in on his face, slowly but surely. You barely notice that it's still moving, and that adds the tense like conversation, because he's like, "I'm
Pick
in
it up.
trouble." Like, he told me not to come here during the day. I'm in trouble. It's tense. I haven't finished my job. It's like super tense, and you feel you're in Dent's shoes in that moment. It's nerve wracking.
And you do really feel like he is there at that moment. He had to break the rules and come there because it is a real eventuality that Bond would probably sail out there at night. So what was Dent going to do? Beat him out there?
Yeah.
Like, and also on the subject of Dent, this is, as we said before, Action of the Tiger. Anthony Dawson is pretty awesome in Action of the Tiger. Have you watched Action of the Tiger, Chris?
I can't say I have.
Oh, well, we'll send you a copy of it. We'll trade Hell Drivers for Action of the Tiger.
You got it. Absolutely.
But the end sequence of that movie involves Anthony Dawson, and it's pretty damn tense.
Oh, nice.
And it has Sean Connery, Anthony Dawson, and a gun. It's a tense ending, and it's directed by Terrence Young. So
Love that. This is this is all the Bond connections.
so that
Yeah,
and
we run to a lot, especially in what's the one we just watched? The war one. He's like in it for
The
like
Longest
2
Day,
minutes.
which
Day.
he would have already filmed Dr. No at this point.
Yeah, and so we have a very young, not very young, but Strongberg from Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah.
He's in that,
And
there's somebody else.
Gert Frobe.
Yep. So yeah, it's crazy to think like Yeah, I mean, I guess not. Like thinking of, you think of like the Harry Potter films of like the like Mount Rushmore of British performers were in those films, and back in the day, these were the Mount Rushmore, and so it's really fascinating doing this podcast. You're finding a lot like, oh wait, that was like extra number one in Doctor No. How is he in this and all that? It's very fascinating to see all the connections here for sure.
A couple more notes I have. The car going down the hill, the mountain there, the hearse almost hits the camera. Does anybody notice that?
Yeah.
The camera that is lowest down on the hill almost gets hit.
That's right.
There's a couple of times where the camera almost gets hit by things.
It was the only time a car's ever had like exploding suspension. Like it went over one bump and was like, boom!
Speaking of cars, I like to nerd out on the Bond cars. Now this is not really a Q car, obviously no gadgets, but that Sunbeam Alpine is a beautiful car. I always, if it was a one Bond car that I could maybe afford to get one day, next to the BMW from Tomorrow Never Dies, is this one, because I just love it. I would look goofy in it because I'm a very big, large man, but I just think it's a cool little car, man. It's super sporty.
The weirdest thing, the type of BMW, the BMW 750i, I mean, they're common as muck in Europe, which is why it's so like coming to America. I've realized some people are like, oh, we don't see them all too frequently, or that sort of stuff. In Britain, you can buy one of those for like $200.
Wait, what?
Really?
Yeah, they're everywhere. Honestly, European cars like BMWs, Volkswagens, they're everywhere.
Oh,
are
you purchasing one already, Mario?
I am curious to see how much they are. But it's
Connery
funny,
curious.
I do see the BMW Z3 a lot in person.
Yes.
Like the blue one from that that didn't really get any action at all,
despite having rockets.
They teased the rockets. The Q sandwich got more airtime, for God's sakes. It's insane. But that seems to be one of the other affordable.
I'd say it got
cars.
more sea time because it's a submarine sandwich.
Well done, Dylan. Well done.
Thank you.
Goodness me, that was quick.
But it's insane because I
We're
just told
practiced
a
on this podcast.
But it's interesting to see, like, because I told a story on the podcast in Florida. There's a amazing Bond museum. This guy collects like screen used gadgets, screen used vehicles. I got to sit in one of the Goldfinger's Rolls Royces. I sat in the DB5 that was parked outside of the hotel in No Time to Die, and I even got the honor of sitting in a Lotus that was sat with three asses: a guy from a dealership, a guy who worked in the movie Spy Who Loved Me, the guy who transported it, Roger Moore, and me have sat in that.
That's five
seat.
asses.
So 5 asses. Sorry, I miscounted.
I give this movie 5 asses.
One Roger Moore ass.
Was it the Spy Who Loved Me one?
Yeah, it was the one that pulls up on. So I guess technically Desmond Llewellyn too, because it's the one when they show up.
not
on the
many
dock and
people
you first see it. So, but a good amount. But I see that movie so differently now because I'm like, wow, I sat in that exact one.
It's got the ridiculous tartan interior, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's how I knew, because like I'm a nerd like that, because like I remember seeing that, like, what a ridiculous interior, but that's Roger Moore's. But when I saw it in person, I'm like, that's the interior.
That's it.
My friends were there like, why is the car look like a kilt? I'm like, you understand, like this was the model, this is what he drove. And there's a lot of cool ones, but they had like just random, like they had like one of the Range Rovers from No Time to Die that was in the woods.
Jeez. Chasing
them, and like just a fascinating collection. But it's just so funny to see. But some of these, we talked to the guy who worked there. Like, some of these cars you can afford. Like even like the AMC Hornet that does the ridiculous spiral jump. That's an affordable car, but it's so iconic. Like, look at the DeLorean. That's a terrible car. The DeLorean is a terrible car.
I'm sure the Citroen from For Your Eyes Only is probably.
That's 2CV.
Yeah. But it's just so funny how like Bond could put a Prius in there, for God's sakes. I even think Casino Royale, he drives a Ford Focus at one point.
Is it Focus or Mondeo?
Might be a forget what it was.
They're both awfully similar.
Yeah, was it Casino Royale? That's gonna bother me now.
Okay, so Inspector, he takes the Aston Martin from 006, right? And he's got Frank Sinatra playing in it.
Mondeo. It is Mondeo.
So he steals the Prius. What music is playing in the Prius?
It's the the Prius.
No, yeah, I'm saying like in this fictional scenario
I
where
see.
where we have a Prius in the movie, so it wouldn't be Bond's Prius. It wouldn't be Ben Whishaw giving Bond a Prius. He would have to steal it from somebody. What music is playing in that scene for
Electric
comedic
Avenue.
effect?
Underneath the mango tree.
Now, see, I was thinking like Skrillex or something, like some modern
Skrillex.
EDM, yeah, some
Bangarang.
modern EDM thing, yeah.
So listen to Skrillex without my earmuffs.
That's like drinking OH positive blood above the temperature of 69 degrees or whatever the fuck I'm saying right now.
Chris, we talk about this all the time. That how we're so sad that Connery Bond hates the Beatles.
So sad. How do you feel about the Beatles, Chris?
I am neither one way nor the other.
Really?
Being British, I've heard them a lot.
Oh, so yeah, that's like
Understandable.
underneath the mango tree in Jamaica. You just hear it everywhere. I assume.
You just,
Everywhere
it
you
just
go, it's
it cuts
Abbey Road everywhere.
Family Guy style, cuts to Bob Marley. Underneath the mango tree, me honey and me.
Now, I know plenty of people are obsessed with the Beatles. That never struck me particularly, but I don't hate them per se.
More of a Beach Boys guy?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Hell yeah. So,
Oh wow,
honestly, the past couple of years, me too. I've been getting heavy into the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Beach Boys are great.
Oh, it's a great time.
Okay, let's keep going here. The Dent kill is just awesome.
Oh, it's one of the best scenes in the franchise.
It's, if not one of the coolest spy scenes in cinema history.
Yeah, it's just so beautifully. It's so beautifully shot as well for a film that, as I was saying, has a lot of hangover of 50s budget cinema. This scene was done expertly, like all of the angles, all of the way the exposition was handled, even the soundtrack or lack thereof. I know they played the song at that point, but then have no other music. So well done.
Yeah, it's very suspenseful. It's incredibly. It's shot kind of like a Hitchcock film.
Yes.
It plays a lot with shadows. My literal only issue with the scene is that when Bond does the bed up, he just leaves the blanket off. Just like, put the blanket back on the bed.
And the Caribbean.
I know that, but you can just like roll it down to the edge. Like if you're sleeping and it gets hot, you're not gonna. I don't know. You throw the blanket off a little bit, not entirely. Like it looks like somebody who's not in the bed threw the blanket off. You know what I mean?
I can see where you're coming from.
Like do it up a little bit to look like people have been sleeping there for a couple of hours.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
But other than that, the scene is flawless.
Yeah, and it would have been so easy to have put in like a musical dun dun dun.
Oh, yeah.
when he got shot, but to leave it, I'm so glad they did.
Especially considering all the other misuse of music moments there are in the movie. That it was a perfect use of silence.
Yeah, and Connery's performance in it is also so good. Like they always say, like, you know, it takes a couple of people. It takes most Bond actors like 3 films before they really hit their peak. Connery was close to his peak in Dr. No. Like that, his performance in that scene particularly is just ice cold.
Yes, that and the train sequence in From Russia with Love.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All of the dining with Grant.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to get to that movie. That's a good. I think that's probably my favorite Connery Bond as well.
Rush with Love, yeah.
Yeah.
I just love Goldfinger because
I think it's so good though, isn't it? It's a completely different type of film, but it's so good.
Totally.
Well, I think Chris touched on it. I think I've said it in the past too on our Goldfinger episode. Like that is it's got everything. It's got your Q scene. It's got your DB5. It's got your eccentric henchman. It's got your crazy villain. It's got your lovely ladies. You know, it's just I love Goldfinger to death. But
And also when the soundtrack properly started to become a Bond soundtrack. It was teasing it from Russia, but Goldfinger's really where it kicked off. John Barry did so well in Goldfinger.
Especially because it announces itself with Shirley Bassey.
Oh, hell yeah.
Granted, those the horns and the strings announce it, but when you hear her voice, it is going. Now the franchise exists.
Yeah.
Whereas even in From Russia with Love, the credits are instrumental.
Yeah.
And you hear Matt Monroe on the radio once?
You hear him on the radio once, when
And
when
then
he's
the ending.
he's right at the beginning when he's doing the thing with Sylvia Trench and he's got
Yeah.
the bottle of water, and then you hear it at the end credits.
Yeah. So it feels like they were kind of not even sure about it yet.
Mm.
You know, whereas Goldfinger does feel like this is what this is. Damn it.
You got Shirley Bassey, damn it.
Yeah, especially with that story that Llewellyn tells, where Guy Hamilton says, "No, you're fed up with this guy. You're fed up with Bond. He comes around and fucks up your stuff." Like, I think that's right. That quote is, no, this is what the franchise is, and that's what Goldfinger is as a whole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if one thing can be locked down, no, this is what this is. This character you've already played, this is what it is. I think that was the spirit that permeated that whole film.
Yeah,
Whereas Dr. No is a lot of, this is what this is. This is what this is what this is.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what this is, and then some scenes are like, this is what this is, and the killing of Dent scene is clearly Terrence Young going, this is what this is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I said a whole lot of nothing there. Everyone blows into their silencers. Did you notice that? I'm sorry, Mario, what did you say?
Oh, no. No, no, anything.
Did you notice that everyone blows into their silencers
Yes.
in this movie? And how if there's smoke coming out of it, not one person sucks in the smoke, just humorously. Like, everyone's smoking cigarettes. You might as well smoke your silencer smoke.
What are you, an animal?
Where are we? 007. Okay. So when Honey Rider is singing, Bond wakes up and hears the singing, and he's like, "What is this? I'll join in." And then, like the worst singers, changes the key. Doesn't even like do it. He doesn't modulate. He interrupts a phrase, starts the song over in the wrong key.
Well, I've
Like
not
the worst
seen-
music student.
I've not seen Darby O'Gill in The Little People, so I don't really know what Sean Connery's singing capability is like. But that would be so, like, if he was a spy, like, he's not going to have the greatest, like, he's possibly not going to be the greatest singer. Him thinking, look at me being so slick, and then, as you say, completely different pitch. If he sped up the tempo too, that would have been fantastic.
She's singing it all gentle, and he just, underneath the mango tree, me honey.
Our guy in the corner's going at it again.
What, you don't like Hatebreed? I really think Creator's best album is Hordes of Chaos. But as we learned in the biography we read of him recently from Andrew Yule, he was not a good singer in class as a kid. So I feel like this contributes to it, to that theory. The boat shows up. Quarrel comes out. You can hear the boat coming. You hear that? Bond goes, "It's a high-powered boat. Take cover." Quarrel runs to the side into the trees. Bond grabs Honey Rider and just keeps running along the open beach. These are the little things I notice upon watching these films. Of like, all right, you gotta say the line and do the thing, and they're so caught up in their head of saying the line and do the thing that I think they just like do the thing wrong. Like, take cover. Okay, maybe we should run to the woods. No, just keep running on this open beach. They won't see you.
Cover will find us. I do hope you're about to bring up one of my favorite parts of this film, which is hilarious.
The blue crab?
No, just after that. No, just before that, sorry.
No, what is your... Go ahead and bring it up.
The guy with the megaphone is like, "We'll come back and get
of course.
you. We'll get the dogs."
Of course. I hadn't made a note of that because I feel like everyone has noted that. Every podcast I've listened to has made a note of that, but it holds up every time. It's amazing.
Every time it's a guaranteed laugh.
And when Felix shows up at the end with the megaphone as well, I want him to just say, I just want to take all the dialogue from that first scene and put it over Felix as well.
Full steam ahead.
So it's, what was that?
Full steam ahead. It's a full megaphone voice.
It's the cursed megaphone. Felix somehow found that megaphone, and now he has to say all those same things too.
Bond's letting go, and he's going, "We'll come back. We'll come back with the dogs."
Oh, and that's when he lets go of the rope. No, they won't. No, not now. Yes, yeah, the megaphone part is fantastic.
It's always a guaranteed laugh.
But I brought up the blue crab because I just love. I had to take a screenshot of
It's a
Quarrel's
beautiful
reaction to the
stuff.
blue crab.
I mean, this is the closest Bond has been to a Renaissance painting.
This one right here.
Yeah.
I want this to hang up in my living room.
Okay. Then under this we got, listen, both of you, there are no such things as dragons. I know, I voiced one in a movie once. I love this skull and crossbones. Danger, do not pass this point.
I really appreciate that the Skull and Crossbones is actually looking at the do not pass. It's like, oh,
Right.
check this out.
I should have read this.
Yeah, the skull looked concerned about the sign.
If only I had eyes to read. They're just sockets. What else do I got? Dan.
I also love their go back to that. I think I make this comment to myself every time, but just their wardrobe is so patriotic. Just the red,
Oh
white,
yes,
and
yep,
blue.
yep.
You just always know who's who.
Yeah.
If it's
so
if
funny.
it's not. So, the Dr. No is looking at the security camera footage. He's like, "Okay, they're either English or American. Where are they from?"
Well, in this combination on this screenshot, they're French.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, huh?
Twisted, they're Dutch.
I know I should have brought my Dutch punch.
Either way, kill them.
Either way, they're European, and I hate it.
Connery, shoot over to the shirtless Connery.
Yes, I
here.
took a picture of that. He
Because-
looks so damn good.
He looks amazing. Like, this is one, like, seeing this, and you're like, okay, he can conceivably be Mr. Universe. That makes sense.
Right?
What the hell is going on with that weird, like, trail? We know Sean Connery got excessively hairy later in life.
Well, it looks like his belly button is on fire and it's like wisping up smoke,
It's like
or it's a
that
tree that's
tree.
growing out of his belly button. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
but either way, it's like the standard of male attractiveness today is very different than this now. I feel like this sort of male figure in film is only kind of starting to come back around now. Especially after, like, you got Chris Pratt, like even like Kumail Nanjiani bulking up, like people who arguably didn't really need to bulk up for these roles. Like they're not. I don't know. I haven't watched Eternals, but you know what I mean. Like, whereas that Marvel physique is more, the Hollywood physique, but like this was the Hollywood physique back then.
Yeah. I feel like, as well, for a spy, this would make more sense than being excessively toned like Craig.
Exactly.
This has more, like, the fact that, obviously, I know in the book, he does talk about Bond having a bit of an exercise regime. But this just makes, like, just more sense than, with the, as you say, the overly muscly Craig walking out to the beach. Like, at that point, you're like, oh, I'm watching a film. Here, this could just be somebody who is very well kept and a spy.
Yeah, I agree, and he would just need to fit in, like I feel like someone more jacked, especially if he was out in a public place, would stand out. Like if I was on the beach in Casino Royale, I would look at Daniel Craig coming up out of the water and be like, something's up with that guy. He's too jacked.
Look at that guy. He's a spy.
Yeah. Excuse me, are you a spy?
I couldn't help but notice your Omega timepiece and your powder blue shorts. Are you a spy?
Those are the trademarks, of course.
Yes. Is he wearing an Omega or a Rolex in this? Probably, no, yeah, because Omega comes
He's
out.
Rolex.
Rolex in this
Yeah,
one.
so
Yeah,
it's-
Omega was only from the Brosnan ones on?
It's from
Goldeneye,
GoldenEye
yes.
onwards.
Yeah.
Goldeneye onwards, yeah. I love it. Looks great. My favorite Rolex is the Goldfinger one because with that strap that you see, like when he's
Oh.
putting the lighter to it. That's a brilliant looking Rolex.
Quarrel, Oh, my note is saying, Quarrel, keep quiet. Because Quarrel just runs along the beach. It's like, there's people coming! Well, now they know where you are. Sorry. Again, these are the things I noticed in movies. It's like, go say the line and do the thing. And you don't even realize the logistics of the thing.
I enjoyed the slightly problematic line of Bond going to Quarrel, fetch
My shoes. Yep.
Yeah, that's one that's aged pretty badly.
Yeah. And then I don't think Quarrel even goes, and you don't even see Quarrel go get the shoes. It just cuts to Bond having the shoes. And I want to see like the scene that's edited out of where Quarrel, it just pans to Quarrel being like, oh, this white fella or something. And like, wah, wah, wah. I don't know.
Which to be fair, I'm sure Fleming would have been a fan of something like that.
My next note is the bog with the dragon looks like it smells terrible.
Yes.
It looks like the worst smelling area.
The weird thing for me, in the book, he goes into excessive detail about how bad the Sulphur River smells, and like a bubble pops up and it smells awful. Like, when you think of the fact this is literally Bird Shit Isle, like, all of it is going to be terrible.
Yeah. Which also, I think, would add an interesting aspect to a remake of this movie if characters were just constantly dealing with the fact that the whole place they're on smells like fucking shit.
I thought you meant for, for audiences, because I'm going to put smell-o-vision in.
I'm waiting for that.
The 4D experience. Dr. No. 1D per letter. Why do their strategy for fighting the tank is terrible? Just stand behind some bushes and shoot it with our 6-shot pistols. How about ambush it from behind and jump on top? And I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, well, it was pretty open field, so it'd be kind of hard to get around it.
But I don't think it had a turret, did it? It was just forward facing.
Yeah, it was just the flame.
Yeah.
Granted, there were dudes in there with guns, but like they weren't. They were in there. You could have jumped on top of it and like hung from the top and just put your hand in and shot them in the face.
It was very Metal Gear Solid. I don't know if you ever played Metal Gear Solid, but there legit is a tank scene where you have to like throw grenades into the tank, and it's like you're in this open field and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
So this kind of brought me to a flashback. But speaking of the tank, I do love that they're still convinced it's a dragon, even when they see the obvious tire tracks.
Yeah.
Those are dragon tracks. And
I guess the dragon has treads.
I said it's like I guess the dragon runs on like a something cylinder engine.
Yeah. Has wheels. This dragon has wheels.
It's so patronizing, but I love it.
It is great. And for a second, when Honey backs up Quarrel, there's kind of a second where Bond's like, is there a dragon?
Perhaps I was wrong.
It just might be.
That would have been great, though, at the end of, like, when the base exploding, you see a dragon, this Game of Thrones style, just flying over the base. Oh, damn it, they were right.
Put that at the end of No Time to Die as well. Cut it with, like, the siege of the burning of King's Landing or whatever.
Let's get to the final act here. Let's get to our intro of Dr. No here, because I have some notes about him.
Yes, and also my last one was you take how do we attack the tank? Connery goes, I've got a plan, and then you cut it with Return of the Jedi, where Chewbacca lifts the Imperial guards out of the AT-AT and chucks them out.
I want to see 2 giant logs smash it from either side.
We often talk about how many films we can match these up with. In fact, Mario, I just got a 4-pack of Herbie the Love Bug, so we can match the rear projection driving scenes along with this, and the car crushing scene from Goldfinger.
Yeah. Don't sleep on those Herbie movies. I quote The Love Bug and Monte Carlo like all the time, and nobody gets the references, but they're really brilliant jokes in there.
Well, I will watch them, especially because I'm going to be doing some editing.
Let's review them all. God, Herbie Curious. Let's review all the Herbie.
Herbie Curious.
Herbie.
That sounds like a sexual condition.
Oh my god, I'm a bit Herbie Curious. Her bi curious. No, her be curious. Okay. The when they get taken in and cleaned off in the Austin Powers style shower,
Yes.
Dr. No has the same Geiger counter that Bond was using earlier. I guess they only had the one prop.
Yeah.
How good is that soap that's getting off the radiation?
With not even a full coverage.
Yeah.
We should
Like,
we should use that and cut that with like put the Dove logo over it, Dove soap, or Axe body wash or something. Manscaped.
But yeah, it's like Honey comes out. It's like, oh, she's at 0. She's fine. And like, oh, Bond comes out. Oh,
He's still at
check under
4.
He's at 4. Check his fingernails. And they put his hands in a machine. And like, I guess that cleans off the rest of the gunk. It's like, that's like, gave me COVID flashbacks. That's how I walk into my home every day during COVID because I was still working. I had to do a full Dr. No shower. It was insane.
Connery pulls his hands out and his nails are fully manicured.
Oh, thank you.
This is my color.
Powder blue.
After they get cleaned off, the woman opens up this vault door, and I chose this frame for a reason. You can see Connery is pushing her into there. He has no idea what's in there. He's like, get in there, get in that vault. And when they get to the other side, the door closes, and he's surprised. He's like, oh, I didn't think they would have locked us in this vault.
Oh.
And it really does look like the same Fort Knox like vault door as well.
Right?
I thought it was interesting. Maybe
Ken
they
Adams
reused
and
it.
his big doors. And when they come out the other side, they could have just been locked in that vault forever. Like, what kind of efficient doorway is this? that you just go into like this pod, this rock pod, and then you come out the other side?
It's a radiation thing. You had to be there.
Yeah. And then I noticed that Honey Rider's room has a papasan with no pillow, no cushion. That's going to be the most
not right.
uncomfortable seat ever. Just sitting in a wicker basket.
How this bothered me about this. How unnecessary is that little like stage for like the bed, the little rise?
I love it.
Like Connery almost like when he comes to like look for her when they're escaping, he almost trips over it. I'm like, I got scared for him.
Which is the second Terrence Young film where he almost trips on something.
That's true.
Again, in Action of the Tiger, he almost takes a real header off the dock and like bashes his skull.
Jesus,
it's insane. Yeah, watch the movie. You'll see it as he's playing drunk, so he's like he's like comedically like kind of running all over the place, and he really falls, but like catches himself, but almost eats face on a concrete dock.
Brilliant.
But I like that those beds are. Like the platform is up a little bit, though I would say it would probably be a pain in the ass at night after peeing.
I like
in
the
the
opening.
dark.
Like look at the opening there, and it's
Right.
like I don't know. It's scary to me. It looks like what
Get your foot
did it used to
caught.
be? Did it used to be like a nightclub or something? Like Jesus Christ. We're getting to one of my favorite things to talk about in this film.
You can see from my cuts here.
But yeah.
So we haven't really talked much about Ursula Andress as Honey Rider. How do you guys feel?
Wow. Beautiful.
I chose a very tasteful screenshot here.
There we go.
Because personally, I'm not super attracted to. She's gorgeous, but she's not my type. But this frame particularly was like, okay, yes, I get it. She is an absolute icon of the time. Gorgeous.
Yes.
That's it. She's absolutely stunning, and like the things she wears as well. Like the bikini became a much bigger thing after this film. Like she basically that became a massive popular item after this. And yeah, no, I can, as you say, I can see why many people would be insanely enamored with her.
And she's good in it. I wish she wasn't dubbed. I'd be interested to hear her real on-set dialogue. I feel like the dubbing takes away. Yeah. I feel like the dubbing takes away from her a little bit.
Yeah, with like Gert Frobe being dubbed, it's like I just like to hear the original actors and their voices.
There's one trailer for Goldfinger where it's the laser table scene and it's Gert Frobe's real voice.
And it's not even that different, really, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But it must. I'm guessing that scene was used in the trailer for that reason. Maybe because he spoke the clearest in that part.
Yeah, good point.
And maybe the other ones were a little rougher.
There's one part in the film when he's underneath the model of Fort Knox. They didn't dub that bit. But it's at that point it's blurred. It's like muffled audio texture anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so she's good in this. She's mostly playing damsel in distress for 80% of her time on screen, but she does have some knowledge about the island and proves useful in a few ways. But I feel like she's just being dragged along on this a lot. Though they do give her a good reason to be dragged along, the fact that her boat has been shot up.
Yeah.
And she can't leave now. So a little detail I always forget when I'm watching this.
And look how great the suit looks there. I would have
Right?
wore it with open as well. It looks good on him. Like,
Yeah, it
that's
looks
how I
really
thought
good.
it fit at first. Just, that looks great.
Honestly, that white shirt underneath looks very comfortable. Anyway, so just specifically the white shirt.
Yeah, the slippers too. He's got like little slippers on. I've noticed those slippers before. He just looks super comfortable. Dr. No's a great host.
Both of these beds look very comfortable, as do their robes. These
Yes,
powder blue robes.
it's the same robe. That's the same robe from Goldfinger too. It's the terry cloth like blue. We gotta get those terry cloth onesies. We
we
found
do.
them on Etsy.
We have to.
What? They have.
Do you have one?
I need one.
Like, I'll send you a link.
We'll
They have
all
the
get them.
That's
When we
like
finally meet up, we'll all wear our terry cloth onesies and walk
Sit by
into
the
a
beach.
bar
I love it.
in December.
Can we talk about Dr.
Gentlemen,
No's,
I can see
dining
6 nipples. They're cutting through your terry cloth onesies. Anyways, can we talk about what?
Dr. No's dining room, man. This
Yes.
most ridiculous fish tank I've ever seen in movie history with these giant goldfish.
Well, it's the magnification effect of the 10-inch glass.
I appreciate the line dub they did about that, and the whole like whales minnows pretending they're whales. That line,
Yes, that's a good
actually-
line.
It's a really good line, and it saves it. If they didn't have that, it'd be like, oh, that is the cheesiest lame line cover up in history.
Yeah, 'cause
And-
it's just so funny to see though. Like just these tiny little minnows, just as big as Connery's body.
Yeah.
On the entrance of Dr. No, I forgot how awkward the line delivery is. The $1 million is a great line, but it's not set up. So he goes, "You were wondering how much it cost?" Like, it really should have been like, "I wonder how much a place like this cost."
Yeah.
It should have been set up because the reverse is so much more awkward.
And that's the thing, because that's exactly how it happens in the book. In the book, Bond's having that train of thought, then Dr. No interrupts, and it
Yeah.
works beautifully. Here, I feel like they're like, oh, it happens in the book, we'll have to do it here, and didn't really think about it. Also,
Yeah.
look at that filling like meal he's got.
Oh yeah, yes, that was my next note. Is grapes for dinner.
4 grapes.
And I had another note here. A medium dry martini, lemon peel, shaken, not stirred. And why am I giving the waiter? Why am I giving Dr. No Connery's voice? You know what? Fuck it. Connery's playing Dr. No too. A medium dry martini, lemon peel, shaken, not stirred. And for the woman, grape juice.
She'll be sitting. she'll be sitting on the kids' table.
Plenty of grapes here. And also, I can't use my hands, so I'm going to have a full uncut pineapple. I'm Dr. No.
Seeing this, sorry to interrupt.
No, go
but
ahead.
Seeing this, like, I haven't seen Dr. No in a while, but reliving Dr. No's performance, man, I really did think that Rami Malek was going to be Dr. No.
Same.
I thought there's a
same.
possibility of it being more than just a. I'm not sure they're going to be the same character, but I thought it'd be like a stronger reference. And there really wasn't any reference to it whatsoever. Like the stronger reference was to only twice the book. But yeah, like going on to add such strong Dr. No vibes from Rami Malek.
And I know people were thinking that from the trailers as well, because you see him in the trailer get up after getting shot, and people were saying, "Oh, because is it because the heart's on the left side, or is it on the right side? You know what I'm saying? The heart's on the other side."
Heart's on the right side.
Yes. Wow, coming from the American school system where every day we did this, because it was always associated with that, Pay homage to your overlords. I'm like, what? Which side is my heart on?
I meant
Noah's side.
his heart would be
No,
on the right
I know,
side. Don't
I
worry.
know,
I see. Okay.
I forgot for a second. I'm like, his heart's on the wrong side. Is his heart on the left side?
I have two.
That's why Dr. No died. His heart was 10 sizes too big. He was the Grinch.
It expanded because of heat.
and exposure to bird poop. So I have a note here. You can see that this statue is rubber when he grabs it. Watch.
Oh my god, you can.
You see it.
Oh,
You see it
It's
compressed
crumbling.
down. Yeah, it's already crumpling right as he touches it. One more time.
You should add like a squeaky toy noise to that when he squeezes it. Makes the dogs flip out.
Okay. My next note is how would. So he's in the cell, and he goes to grab the grate, and the grate is electrified. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get there, this shot where Dr. No leaves the room and lets his guards just beat up Bond. What a beautiful long shot, and you just a hint of Bond being grabbed, and then you hear him being beaten up, and you know what's happening, and they just dwell long enough where you like what I want to see. Oh my God, they're beating the shit out of him. That is a really good shot and a really good dissolve into him in the cell. Now, when he reaches up and grabs the grate and it's electrified, and he knocks the grate out, he's taken a huge risk that the sides of this grate are not electrified as well.
Yeah.
He's taken a huge risk. But also, why do this same tunnel of pipes have water flowing through it? Or was water just going to come through this grate at some point that was electrified? Like, what is going to happen?
I assume if the tubes fell, it would possibly push in steam. Like water doesn't make way
okay.
down there, but steam might get pushed out of there.
Yes, because there is steam in it after the water comes through. And
I just like the idea that Dr. No was just flushing the toilet, and then like there you go. I could have done without the sequence. I feel maybe cut it. It was a little too long for me.
I quite like how atmospheric it was. I really feel like it added something to the film.
I like the sequence a lot, especially with the noises.
Yeah.
It really, it's the most out there that the movie gets, I feel.
Also, clearly not Sean Connery in that picture.
Yes, so that was my next note. I took 4 frames. It looks more like Ed Norton or Michael. That looks like Michael Fassbender.
Or Dave Tennant, almost.
Yeah,
in a certain light.
I can see both of those.
That
was both of
looks
them.
like Tennant. That looks like Fassbender.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that.
I have to Connor P. You guys want to continue?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Let's see.
Don't stop on my account.
Oh no, I won't. So yeah. So what are your thoughts? So you do enjoy the sequence?
I enjoyed this because we've had tense scenes, but this one is like tense in a completely different way. It's not completely related to tensions between two individuals. When it's like the environment that's kind of against him, it's a really different feeling. And as Dylan said, having the weird audio bits, having unexpected things happen, I really appreciate that. And if we'd had a bit more of what had happened in the book, like they have spiders, they have heat, they have all that jazz, I feel like that would have been really interesting. But I think just as kind of like a, not palate cleanser per se, but just as like a short thing to happen that's completely of itself before the big showdown, I really enjoy it. I really think it's like a thoroughly enjoyable scene.
Yeah, I think I can build. I could grow on it. I think it's just because I feel like the whole escape scene does seem like I like the. I think the fight scene is brilliant. Just him just turning on the device to be like stronger, and then like he's fighting him. But it's just him finding Honey afterwards. It just seems awkward. He goes down the hall to the room, talks to the woman at the desk, says, "Hey, where's the girl I was with? Oh, room 12, and it's just show me. It's just very awkward to me.
Yeah.
I feel like you just don't have him go into the room. Just have him find her naturally. And I just felt like there was a little bit of a, okay, let's get out of here. Let's get to the boat, and we understand it's exploding because, like, you know, a lot of their budget went to this pyro, I'm sure, because you could tell the miniatures, obviously, the great miniature work.
Yeah, superb miniature work. Did you hear the story about the facts with the crabs with the
Yes.
Then
The plane bringing them in wasn't able to land, and thus all the crabs pretty much died in being frozen. And some of them that survived just walked really slow and looked stupid.
Yeah,
so everyone just took the crabs home and ate them for dinner.
And that was the catering budget for Dr. No.
It's just such a stupid story from start to finish.
And then the end result is she's just lying there as water
Like,
comes
oh
in.
no, water.
Which, I mean, pretty terrifying if water's just coming in and no one's gonna like. Honestly, it is a terrifying situation.
Yeah.
You think about it.
I just pictured it as like if high tide just came in and it would just hit her chin.
That's
Go
it.
back down. You know, it's just
So this sucks.
yeah. I don't understand I mean, obviously for a cliche spy movie, you're gonna have that tense moment of just them being dangled somewhere. But I don't know. I feel like that could have been dealt a little differently. But
Miss Ryder, it seems your skin will get very pruny.
please no.
Now, on the subject of the escape, one, I really like this kill. This is a great kill, and it's shot really well.
And a great look. I love this rugged, almost die
Torn
hard
shirt, yeah.
Like he looks so cool in this with the blood and everything.
But also the beating that they gave him would not have torn his shirt in such a way. It's
I thought
like
that would have been more from like falling through the grate or something like that.
Oh, true.
Oh,
true.
yeah, huh? Also, the moment, Mario, earlier you said, what if it was Dr. No's plumbing system? The moment where Connery, rather than sit upright when the water comes, like, because those, as you can see from the pipe, there are, like, rivets. So he could have sat and, like, put his feet up against the rivets, and the force of the water would not have pushed him away. Instead, he chooses to lie down with his nostrils facing the oncoming water, which is just going to go right up his nose and clog up his sinuses. But even worse if it's Dr. No's plumbing line.
I mean, that was intentional, just like burn his nostrils so he doesn't have to smell the shit island anymore.
So yeah, that's a great kill and a great look. Yeah, you're right. What do you guys think of this sequence?
Yeah, we're kind of touching on it. Like when you were at in the bathroom, I did the kind of like the kind of final fight scene. It's kind of quick, but I enjoy it.
It's
will
not the
say-
big bombastic ending that we get used to with Bond films. And if you'd watch those first and come back to this, I could imagine that it might appear slightly mundane in a way, but it fits the pacing and kind of style of the film overall. Like with the amount the film pushes out, it's like it never goes above and beyond. It's always just like it's always in some sort of like a contained bubble per se.
I will say every time I've watched this film recently in the past couple of years, I watched this ending scene at 1.25 speed. Just because it can go on for quite a bit, and everyone's motions are pretty slow. Like they do some jump cuts for like, literally Bond is in Strangway's office or something, or was it a Dent's office? He's being handed a piece of paper, and there's a jump cut in that, but there's no jump cuts in this scene.
Yeah.
Like, also, this might be the goofiest shot in any James Bond film. And in the motion of the scene, it looks like his head is kind of like floating around a static tank.
Yeah.
This man is just wearing like the cheapest Tyvek suit, and somebody filled it with air, or he's been farting a lot.
That's always been my thought. It's like, shit, everyone's gonna know.
That is, he's like Mr. Freeze, but he's Mr. Fart.
Thank God we've got him operating the danger level knob. Why did we put that there?
And just in case you guys didn't know the reactor was on, we have a nice, lovely sign up here to let you guys know. Yet Q couldn't label the gadgets on the DB5 for God's sakes. Smoke screen, oil slick, left and right machine guns. Can you put some labels on it, Q? Dr. No has better labels.
Bond clicks the blinker to go left, the turn signal to go left, and it hits the ejector seat.
Yeah,
Son of a.
not again.
I was just trying to make a turn. He pulls up to like the drive-thru. Is like, KFC, how may we take your order? Fires out. He's like, damn it! I was just trying to lower the window. Okay. Speaking of the miniature work, this might be the most obvious miniature in the whole movie.
Yeah.
That boat is clearly like, they're all like matchbox size things.
So the most difficult thing with these is when it's got a natural element, especially water. It's hard to make water look small.
Yeah, you can't at all. It's a very hot rocket. It's a very hot rocket. Sometimes I'll take screenshots of things I can't write down quick enough. Okay, as they're escaping, where's the girl I came in with? I don't know. Who are you?
I wasn't here. I just punched in like 10 minutes ago.
I love
Who
that
are you?
This completely decks him.
He just walks around he runs around frantically doing that to everyone. Where's the girl I came in with? Who are you? Punch.
I was waiting for him to like punch the receptionist too. He's like, "Where's the girl I came with here with?"
Are the ends of his trouser legs tied together, like tied up at the
Yes.
bottom?
Oh yeah, look at that.
When did you do that?
It's a very Dragon Ball Z
Yes.
Goku look.
Are
I'm a
you
Super
listening to
Saiyan.
what I'm super saying?
I never noticed that. And he's like, look at those comfortable slippers though. He's like, he's running in style with those.
Yeah. Double Kakarot 7.
I've got to.
Yes.
I've got to find the girl I came in with. I like her Vegeta.
Jesus Christ.
I enter it with my Piccolo.
What do you mean the water's cold? That will freeze her.
These are all references I understand.
I never thought we would cross Connery with Dragon Ball. This is the best day ever. Oh my goodness. And oh, here's our iconic ending.
Yeah, we'll be back
Show
with-
me that picture again of him being like, pretty lady.
Oh, hi! Look at the pretty lady. Oh,
Oh, that's gonna go on Instagram.
Yeah, like,
That's just the one.
Destroying any moment of that scene. All I'm ever going to see is that.
Also, it was so hard to get this screenshot. Like VLC, I can only go in like 5-second chunks. I should have brought this into Premiere and gone frame by frame. But good lord, this exists for like a frame and a half.
This is like the cover for Ernest Goes to Crab Key. Like,
All I can see. All I
just
can see
feeling
is
like
this my
Banjo-
grandparents. Sorry.
I'm just hearing the voice of Banjo from Banjo and Kazooie, like,
Ooh, pretty lady in a pink dress.
and Honey Riley's just going, that is a spot on impression.
I'm a really big Banjo Kazooie fan.
Damn right.
And pretty lady, and she's like, "Let me show you this." And he's like, "I'll sit on the floor with you." Are we
you
gonna
doing
play
down here?
jacks? Look at crayons.
Oh man.
But yeah,
All right.
this picture is just like, it feels like you could, if you put this in black and white and gave it to anybody, it could be you could pass this off. Anybody could pass this off and be like, "This is my grandparents back in the '60s,
I'm gonna
a more
frame it.
innocent time."
Yeah, no, I want this on my wall. Like,
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
My apologies to Quarrel and the Crab. This is it.
This
You
is-
know what? How about both of them? This is my Uncle Quarrel, and these are my grandparents.
We can Photoshop Quarrel looking over the side of the boat there.
So yeah, these are my grandparents, and this is Paul Stanley's black friend.
See, look, you get Photoshop behind the boat. I'm doing that. Send me both those pictures, Dylan, later on.
You
I'll
got it.
Photoshop that.
Send that to me as soon as you can. I need to
I will.
see that.
I will send
Like
it
the
to you.
shark in Jaws.
Oh.
Okay,
Well,
and that
alright,
that
so-
brings us to our final frame. I really like this frame. That's
Yeah,
a
that's-
really good the end frame, right?
It's a great the end frame. The issue is seeing this picture. All I can hear is that dreadful horn bit that comes in. It sounds like it distorts. I don't know what it is. It's ruined so much by the music.
Let me pull up the scene itself. So because I don't remember the exact music. Also, this guy on this guy is knocked out, right? And then Bond just tosses him in the water to drown.
I love the very slick barrel actor
Pinewood.
switch out scene.
Wait, which one?
So when they're escaping, Connery and Ursula Andress run behind a barrel, and then the stunt actors clearly run out. So if you go from around here, they're all diving and panicking. I think it's when they jump down a level or something. Just a sec. Here it is. So they jump down. Oh, it's the barrel, and then clearly stunt actors.
Oh,
Oh my God.
wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's great. And you can see Connery's head still.
Yes.
Look right there. You see-
You see him pop up. You see him pop up. Oh my God.
Down.
Oh. So, okay, on that note of
Brilliant.
yeah, this guy's knocked out and just gets tossed into the water to drown. On that note of get out of my shot, I was reading in the Toshin book, the first shot where Honey Rider is on the beach. Apparently, there were people in the shot. There were like 4 people off in the distance, and it turned out to be Ian Fleming and a couple other people. But Terrence Young yelled at them. He's like, "Get out of my shot, bloody tourists," or whatever. And then it turned out to be Ian Fleming. I say, I was just visiting the set.
I created this character, don't you know? What?
Let's hear this music
So
here.
the music here.
I can't hear
Can you not hear it?
No.
it. Nope.
No. Okay. Yeah. I'll punch it in.
With podcast magic, we will pretend that we hear it.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's every version I've ever heard. It sounds like the main trumpet part distorts massively whilst the end pops up, and it just ages it so much.
Yes. And hold on a second. I just want to make sure my logic is not gonna stop recording.
Oh
okay,
no,
I
the
don't-
tape.
No, I think it'll be fine. And the recording of Underneath the Mango Tree is like very warbly. It's on warbly tape, and the pitch goes up and down. Yeah. Anyway, so that brings us to this beautiful the end frame, and then this awesome end credits format, which I really like.
I like that too.
Though I think it would be cooler if it was. Let me share the screen again. If it was on the side, and so the credits could scroll up the whole way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know. I kind of like this, like right there in the middle. I don't know.
Either way, it looks pretty badass,
especially as it's only just above where the actual gun barrel shot would have been.
right?
I quite like it like that.
And it's the only one to end that way, and I
Yes.
kind of wish more of them did. To be honest,
Yeah.
that would be cool, especially to see the different Bonds at the end of it in that red gun barrel.
Absolutely.
So okay, so we've gotten through
We're
the
at the
movie.
end.
So that brings us to our review scores. We here on the show we do a review of the film, review of Connery, And we
then
also do-
we have two other ratings: our SH rating and our sexiness rating. So I've got
Yes.
the document up here. Can everyone see the
I
document?
can see the document.
Excellent. All right, so let's start with our SH rating. How thick is that H on the S? Chris, we'll start with you.
I gave it really low because at this point Bond wasn't written to be Scottish in any way. I think he's trying to do an English accent, so I put at most a 4. Like even when he says Spectre, it's not Spectre. It's like he's really trying to minimize it. There's more when he groups words together, but if it's just an isolated S, there's no real SH. So it's a 4 out of 10 for me.
4 out of 10. All right, Mario, you?
I gave it a 3 for kind of the same reasons. It's not there. It's very early on. I think it's only until like maybe Goldfinger, definitely Thunderball, where the H is definitely there a little more. So, and the Diamonds Are Forever, forget about it. So very low here. So 3 for sure.
I think that,
Chris?
and I said I've referenced this bit in You Only Live Twice again later. If you consider how Scottish he got of like, aye, that'd be lovely. Like, if you consider the lengths at which he got away with it, this is nothing
Yes.
in comparison.
Yeah. Chris, I'm going to agree with you and go with a 4 because it's kind of in there. Oh boy, that throws
Oh
it
dear
all off.
God, it did not like that.
3.666. Oh, let's see.
Devil's number.
Ah, Jesus. There's no making this thing happy. All right, you know what? I'm going to go with a 3.5. I'll settle this motherfucker.
Fair enough.
3.5. We'll split the difference. All righty. So on to the sexiness rating. How sexy is the film as a whole? How sexy is Sean?
Start with Chris again.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
say,
yeah, you guest always answers first.
okay, Sean. I'm gonna give a solid 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like we saw the intro, he's sexy in, ripped up in the tunnel, disheveled, sexy. See a bit of Mr. Universe when he's washing himself down. Sexy walk. It's 50s masculine sexy, which I think is making somewhat of a rival in some cases. So yeah, he himself, he's a 9 out of 10. I'd say the film, especially for the times, a reasonably sexy film in a way. Like lots of Catholics were very upset about it, so I'm gonna say the film's an 8 out of 10 overall.
Okay. So I'm going to combine your ratings. Is that okay? And call it an 8.5?
Sure thing.
Okay, cool. Because we could have a rating of the sexiness of the film and the sexiness of Connery, but I think we've just combined them into the one and let those split the difference of each other. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. But what would you prefer? Would you prefer I put an 8 or 8.5 or a 9?
I'm gonna say 9. Do a 9.
No, all right, 9. You got it. Okay. Mario?
Also a 9.
9. I'm going to go with an 8.5.
Oh, spicy.
Yeah. And it doesn't like that.
3.
It's not that long if I stretch it out.
There you
Okay. Yeah, he's pretty damn sexy in this. Mario, what do you think? I know you gave your
yeah.
rating. I'm sorry, but I didn't let you
Yeah,
elaborate.
I think he looks like $1 million. Again, the suit,
Which is what the budget of that film was. So that's the broccoli and Saltzman brought it to the investors and said the investors said, "Who's your star?" And they showed them Sean Connery. Said, "He looks like $1 million. Give him $1 million."
He does. He looks great. Again, the suits. Like Connery knew how to wear a suit for sure. Next to Craig, I love Craig in his suits. But you think of Bond, you think of like the white tux, which is not in this film. It's in Goldfinger. But like he just knows how to wear a suit. Even that suit, the Dr. No pajamas he's given later on. He looks fantastic, and with his shirt off, looks like $1 million. So I think for sure, solid 9 for me.
Yeah, he's very sexy in this. I'm going 8.5 only because I feel like we're gonna get sexier Connery.
Well, Zardoz.
Yeah, well, of course. And Ursula Andress is gorgeous, and
She's probably my favorite.
the woman behind
Connery
the
Bond
counter
girl.
there is gorgeous, and Eunice Gayson is just stunning. That I think she's the most beautiful woman in the film,
wait.
besides the speaking lines. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The woman at the desk has speaking lines. But and yeah, Eunice Gayson is just badass in this movie, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fierce.
Yes.
All right.
So yeah, I feel I'm leaving 8.5 only because I feel like there's some room to grow even sexier.
Well done.
All right, so now we move on to our film rating. Or well, do we want to do film or do we want to do Sean first? Chris,
do
you
it.
make the call.
Let's do film first. Because
All right.
it's kind of curious. We should end with our main man, surely.
You got it. All right, what are you giving it?
this was a difficult one because I've always rated this film in comparison to other Bond films, not just as a film by itself. But overall, I thoroughly love watching this film. There's better films out there, so I'm going to give it a very strong 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Mario?
I think I'm going to stay there with also. Actually, you know what? No, I think I might give it a 7.5. It is definitely it's not perfect. You know, it's little things like, you know, the music cues in the beginning that kind of throw it off, and you know, it's before Bond films were like established on your cold open and all that. And you know, there's a couple of different, you know, the shots that I would have done differently personally. But I think it's a great looking film for what it is, and it's a good plot. I do think it gets a little messy towards the end, but you know, a lot of Bond movies tend to get a little messy once you get your action in. Once the villain shows up and explains his plan for 20 minutes, and then you get into like the final act, it kind of either slows down or it's too fast. So I feel like this one, in that case, kind of ran a little too quick. I would like to spend more time with Dr. No, the man himself.
Yeah, I agree with that there.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
He could have been in more of the film, more of a presence. Granted, I know that's a symptom of the book. You know, he doesn't show up till the end of the book, but you do kind of feel his influence all over.
Yeah, if the film's title is the villain's name, yeah, spend more time with him.
Connery gets 2 of those.
Yeah, but yeah, Goldfinger. You see Or Goldfinger sometimes more than Bond. He's all over the movie. So yeah, I would have liked to see more of him.
Yeah, there's literally seconds between their introductions too in the film, like not including the cold open at least.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Dr. No Finger, you know, doesn't show up till
No
no time to know.
That would have been brilliant if they had Raimi be Dr. No. That could have been your thing.
Sam
no
Raimi?
time to Dr. No. Like how would Rami Malek at the end? Like that would be brilliant.
Doctor No Time to Die.
No time to die. Yeah, you could do that. Why not? But okay.
Q, how do I get these nanobots out of me? Q, you must help me. Are you a doctor? And Q, are you a doctor? No. Time to die.
Cut to credits.
All right. So my film rating, I'm going to give it a solid 7.
Okay, 007, if you will.
Yeah, it's a strong start. It definitely is a good film, but better things are coming, and we've watched better films.
Yes.
Though, if you see on our list here, chronologically, it is our highest rated film so far. So, because it gets, Action of the Tiger, our first Terrence Young film, is averages out 3 points less than this.
Oh yes.
And then it gets better from there with The Longest Day at a 6, and now we're at 7.5.
Oh yes. All
right, so now on to our Sean rating. Chris?
My Sean rating is a high one. I've done a high Sean rating just because there's so much in this that this became so much. And with an inferior actor, it would have sunk and plummeted and died. Like if this started with Lazenby, this wouldn't be a franchise now. Connery made this.
What if it started with Moore?
I feel like it needed the harder, grittier edge first. Like more was required as kind of like, oh, we've had this, and now here's like the parody version, and it's much more 70s. It needed gritty to start off with, or grittier at least. And despite the fact there's no elements of Connery humor, which is something that Connery actually subtly does really well, it's still
there's a little bit.
Yeah, there's a tiny bit, but like not when you get not when going full Goldfinger, that sort of thing.
Sorry to interrupt, but again, going to the Toshin archives, I was reading that Terrence Young came up with they were on their way to a funeral line, and in that section he said Connery contributed a lot of improv lines.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that helps justify my high score, so that's good.
so maybe he was injecting a little more of his humor into it than we thought. Yeah. Because going to The Longest Day, which was filmed either just before, just after, or around the same time, he's pretty damn funny in that movie.
Yeah,
he is the comic relief of that film.
Yes, I think he's got the ability.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he was still better as Bond, which prevents this from being a 10 out of 10, but it's a 9 out of 10. I think he's damn good in this film.
Hell yeah. Mario?
I gave him a 9.5 9.5.
Actually, can I change mine to a 9.5?
Oh,
Yes, you can.
sure.
I want to
Come
go like
along
as
with
high as
me.
possible without being a 10 because Goldfinger's 10, but this is damn close.
Yes.
All right, you guys have made me change my rating as well.
Oh man. So I
Explain your
base-
rating, Mario.
I base mine on again the introduction to him, of him, at the poker table, the first James Bond, the way he carries himself, he is engulfed in the character right away, and I feel like paved the way for other Bonds because that really reminds me of one of our first kind of Pierce Brosnan scenes in GoldenEye when he's in his casino scene, and like it's very. I feel like he took a lot from that scene. He was a huge Connery fan, of course. Who wasn't? But yeah, just the way he carries himself, and just those first like few minutes we get with him, he's fabulous.
If I may, who, one, looks better, and two, is suaver and more awesome in their first casino scene, Brosnan or Connery? Because that first casino scene with Brosnan and Famke Janssen is damn good.
Connery's suave. Sorry, no. Brosnan's suave, but Connery's cooler.
Yeah. Who looks better?
Brosnan.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Okay, so you gave it a 9.5, Mar. You gave our boy Sean a 9.5. Chris, you gave him a 9.5.
Yep.
I had given him an 8, but you guys talked me up to a 9.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice. Welcome in. Welcome to
The water's warm in here. All right, so that covers all of our ratings, I believe. So let's go through that one more time. I'll just give the averages. The average SH rating is 3.5. The average sexy rating is 8.83. The average film rating is 7.5, and the average Sean rating is 9.3.
Yeah, that's
Alrighty.
that's a good overall score. That reflects nicely.
I agree. I
I
agree.
like that.
Now,
All right.
Oh, here we go.
Chris, I'm going to send you the link because
Oh, am I gonna spin it?
You're going to be the spinner.
That is-
Oh shit!
this is going to be the tradition.
Fantastic.
When we have a guest, they get to spin the wheel. You click on that and share your screen with us so we know that it's working. Because if it's not, we haven't tested this yet.
That's it. All I've got is a wheel of names, and it's Ali, Beatrice, Charles, Dear, Eric, Fatima, Gabriel, and Hannah.
Okay, that's not it then.
Next film will
hold
be
on.
Hannah
Hold
with
on.
Sean Connery.
If you continue.
Yeah, the one you sent me is just the website. It's just wheelsofnames.com. Also, by the way, guys, I noticed Ransom on your list. I have that on DVD too. So let me know if you want me to send that to you if you have trouble finding it.
Oh, you're going to be
Okay.
our overseas connection. This is
There's
great.
there's the
Lots of
wheel.
these are
Sorry about
British. Lots of these are British films made by British things I like. So I picked up a few of them, and those are two I've got, which I know will be difficult to find in the States. Oh, I've got it.
that. You've got it. All the names are there. Share your screen with us so we can see.
Here we go.
But yeah, we and definitely don't click on the wheel yet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm just gonna shuffle a bunch. Is that adjusting on?
I don't think it is, but it's okay.
Okay. Maybe he can't edit it. Anyway. Okay. So yeah, that's awesome to know that you have access to some of these films because there are definitely some of these that we couldn't find in our research. So
The ones
Perfect.
Hell Drivers will be very difficult. Ransom might be hard, but I've got both of those on Blu-ray. So
watch you spin either one of them.
Oh, yeah, right.
can't say if that happens.
So folks at home, you guys know what time it is. We get together here for the Wheel of Curiosities, where we spin our next film. And this week, our lovely guest Chris will be doing the honors of picking our next film. Do you have any thoughts of what we might hit? What are some guesses?
Let me look at the list here. I'd like to see Marnie. Or honestly, either Hell Drivers or Ransom, just out of sheer convenience.
Yes.
Every week, I keep leaning towards Family Business because I'm so curious about that film.
That one, yeah, that one's going to be interesting. I kind of hope for The Hunt for Red October. How about you, Chris? What are you hoping for?
If
from
that's the
us?
thing, I quite a few of these I've seen and know quite well, and I would love to have them pop up. But it's got to be Darby O'Gill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's interesting too. Yeah, because that was the one that got him the job of Bond.
Exactly. I want Irish singing Connery.
Right.
Yes.
How about you, Mario?
So yeah,
Man who asked the question.
think. What's that?
The man who asked the question.
Oh, yeah. So I said family business, and maybe, maybe indie. Also, Untouchables.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see Untouchables
Yeah.
as well.
Have you guys
we've
seen
had
it? Have you guys seen it before?
No.
I haven't. No.
We've had somebody reach out to us saying that that's a strong one. They'd like to do that one if it comes up.
Yeah, Untouchables is a damn good film.
Yeah.
Right. Shall I go?
Well, I'm excited. Yeah. So, but you got to say it with us, of course.
So it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for us to spin the wheel,
Wheel of Curiosities.
Man.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Outland.
Outland.
Oh, okay. That's not a
Outland
bad
is
one.
our next film. That is Sean Connery doing sci-fi.
Yes, it is.
That was Outland is in '81, and he's a space cop. Right?
Yes.
Yes,
Cop.
a space western set on Jupiter's moon Io. It has been described as a space western and bears thematic resemblances to the 1952 film High Noon. Alrighty.
I got chills from spinning that wheel. That was great fun.
That's all we work towards every week is that dopamine hit of spinning the wheel of curiosities.
I'm glad we could do that for you. Thank you for spinning it for us.
Oh, anytime.
Yeah, and of course, thanks again for joining us. This was fantastic, Chris.
Oh, it's been
yeah,
my
I
pleasure.
You are our first guest on the show. Your first wheel spin. Besides us, has been fantastic. Before we let you go,
Question. Oh, I'm sorry. You go ahead, Mario.
I'll say before we let you go, why don't you let the people know where can we get curious and find your content?
Yes.
So yes, I'm pretty much only in one place. That's Instagram at British Bond Addict. British Bond and Addict spelt as you would do, just without spaces, no underscores, no dots, no at symbols, anything weird. It's just those three words. Sorry, smashed together.
Brilliant. And Dylan, what were you going to say?
I actually just wanted to wipe out a few different notes I have here. But first of all, I want to ask you, Chris, if you want to come back for a second film, any ones that catch your eye?
Ooh.
Because this has gone well, and I'd gladly have you back.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, it's been fantastic being on. Like, I've listened to you guys, and like, especially the Murder on the Orient Express one. Quite a few things on that were making me laugh, especially like the I'm still glad they got straws. It's like, no, I'm just slipping on the side of my class. Like stuff like that, I really enjoy. And I've never had a podcast so invested in sound effects, which is fantastic.
Wait till you hear the most recent episode.
Oh, yeah.
I spent 8 hours working on 10 minutes of audio.
Good Lord.
I'd like to say you showed up at the right time. We would have had you in a ridiculous skit for at least a half hour.
Yes, exactly. You would have been like, why am I here doing this podcast? Something about Sean Connery?
I just love the what year is it? It's like, I'll take 3. I don't know why that really made me laugh. I'll tell you what, because we talked about it, I'm assuming no one has contacted you about Ransom. I'd love to do that film. That film is
Hell
a great
yeah.
one.
Totally.
Ransom, let's lock it
Yes.
in.
Yes.
Cheers, I
lock it
appreciate
in.
that, guys.
Let's put it in right now.
Lovely.
1 second. Chris at British Bond Addict for Ransom. Awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah, let me know if that one's difficult for you to find, and I'll ship it over with Hell Drivers.
Awesome. Thank
There
you
we
so
go.
much.
And
That, I did want to wipe out just a couple of notes here, just that I had before I forgot. When Bond is in Dr. No's the big missile room, you know what I mean, the final climax.
Yeah.
They're calling Chang. Oh, Chang, you're 7 feet tall now. No one notices that. There's no music at all during the climax.
There's when they start escaping.
When they start escaping, but that whole scene is just pretty much silent until then. When he lets go of the rope, I forget what the setup is. Like, what are we going to do now? Well, you're either going to swim or fuck. Those are your only options now. Another note from the Toshin archives is Ursula Andress said that she loved kissing Sean Connery, and he would always because she was Swiss, he would always ask, every time he saw her from then on, he would ask for a Swiss kiss, or as I wrote, a swish kish.
A swish kish.
Swish kish. So that's my final note on the film. But my final note, where's your birds, gentlemen? Present your birds.
Buddy's sleeping, unfortunately.
That's it.
Where's Burb?
My bird belongs to my girlfriend, not me.
Oh. Okay. Well, maybe for ransom, the birds can meet up.
Yeah, we'll bring the birds for ransom for
Yeah,
sure.
I'll bring the bird for that one. I did
There we go.
hear tweeting at points, and I was like, has one of them got a bird?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. She's like the shocking thing is she's across the house.
Yeah.
That's how loud she is. Just
That's another.
like-
That's
Now,
it. Birb's
you
a
wouldn't-
Senegal parrot, and that thing has got a set of lungs on it. Dear Lord.
Oh, wow.
Ours
Did
is a conure.
Oh,
and
nice.
She's just terrible. She knows how to say "what," "brat," "stop it," and she'll make microwave noise. It's hilarious, but she would have been yelling this entire time.
That's it. The Burb James Burb can whistle the James Bond theme, and that's the coolest thing I've ever seen a bird do.
That is, can you film that for us?
Yeah, I'll send you. She's posted it. I'll send you a link of it.
Oh, my God, please do.
I gotta see that. That's hilarious.
Yes, please do. Oh.
Ah,
Well,
Well-
and if, I'm guessing not going to let the birds fly into the room. So that means you're going to have to carry them in, which means you'll be holding the birds for ransom.
Hey.
oh, that'll be on the poster for the
There you go.
episode.
I think that might be a good one to go out on.
But all right,
Chris,
All
thank
right.
you so much for joining us.
Oh,
Everyone
thank-
check out his stuff at British Bond Addict.
I say thank you so much for having me on. This has been an absolute pleasure. And to be the first guest is genuinely feels like a massive honor. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you
thank
for
you.
joining us. Thank you for being interested enough to want to join us. Thank you for reaching out to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've made our day as podcasters.
All right, so Sean Connery will return.
In
Outland.
In Outland. Thank you.
I tried pitching it to Dylan, and Chris intercepted. That was perfect.
Oh no, that's the thing. It's going. That's me going. Boom.
Not in my house. Not in my house. That was brilliant.
All right, so I'm Dylan Titus,
I'm Mario Lima.
Chris,
And I'm Chris Hunt.
and this has
And
been. Oh wait, Connery Curious. Oh wait, we messed it up. Hold on, I messed it up. I'm sorry. Let's try it one more time. So, all right, I'm Dylan Titus,
I'm Mario Lima.
And I'm Chris Hunt.
and this has
has
been,
been Connery
I'm
Curious.
sorry, I messed it up again.
Was it
Oh my
supposed to be
God.
me? Am I
you want me
next?
to- you want me to
you
say-
say you say the last one.
Oh, so
Okay.
I should say, and this has been Connery Curious.
No, I'll say that one. I'll
Okay.
say that. Okay, I'm Dylan Titus,
I'm Mario Lima.
I'm Chris Hunt.
and this has been.
No, you did not.
and, and this has been Connery Curious.
Connery Curious.
Mario,
And remember, stay curious.
and bring me pictures of Spider-Man.
Cut the recording for God's sakes.
Connery Curious.
You've been listening to Connery Curious, a Titus Compositions and Friggin' Nerds Media podcast. Follow us on social media for updates, memes, and clips. Find us on Twitter at CuriousPod007 and on Instagram at Connery Curious. You can also visit Titus Compositions at Titus Compositions to hear other podcasts and original music, watch music videos, or even pick up a great vinyl record. For more discussion and content about your favorite films, comics, games, and a network for all things nerdy, visit Friggin' Nerds Media on Twitter at Friggin' Nerds. You can rate, review, and share the podcast in-app, which helps us grow the show and reach the other curious Connerys out there. Thanks for spending time with us, and have a great day, but also, remember, stay curious.
9 à la banque.
I need
Carte.
another 1,000.
I admire your courage, Miss.
Trench. Sylvia Trench. I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.